Chapter 1051. Truthful Palace Forbidden Grounds. Chapter 1051. Truthful Palace Forbidden Grounds. Emo said to Qing Han and the others, "Thank you for your friendship, but it's not that I'm scared of her Heaven Star sect." If the Clear Dream Moss girls hadn't intervened, the Heaven Star sect nascent soul state cultivators weren't going to let Emo go easily. But these few girls clearly seemed close to Emo, and if they went up now, it would just exacerbate the problem. If it caused conflict between Heaven Star sect and Clear Dream Mosque, that wasn't something they could handle. "No, Martial Brother Xiaoma, we will stand by your side firmly. We know you're a good person. They've misunderstood you because they don't know you," Qingyi said immediately. Martial Sister Qing Han, Ning Xiaoma used his nascent soul state cultivator power to rob Heaven Star sect's golden core state disciple Martial Sister Yu of her level 6 spirit herb. That's why Martial Sister Pandai wants to teach him a lesson. "Come back first," Ling Xiaoshuang said. "I don't believe it. I trust that Martial Brother Xiaoma won't steal a golden core state disciple's spirit herb. As for the accuser, who knows if she's telling the truth or not." This time, it was the shy Qingyue who spoke and glared coldly at Jiyu. Ling Xiaoshuang was dazed. She now suspected even more that Emo had put her martial sister under a spell. Otherwise, how could Qingyue, who didn't like to talk, speak up for Ning Xiaoma? This woman is lying. Another voice sounded at this moment. Emo knew that Guoqifan had arrived. Guoqifan was only a 5-star sect member, but he still came to help speak for him. He was quite brave. Guoqifan walked up and said loudly, "My 2 martial brothers and I found 2 crisp green vines, but there was a level 6 spirit beast guarding it. At that time, the 4 people from Heaven Star sect came by and found it too. We made an agreement to kill the beast together and take 1 vine each." Jiyu's eyes seemed worried, but she didn't dare to stop Guoqifan from talking. Then, Guoqifan looked at Jiyu contemptuously. "We didn't expect that redback wolf to be so powerful. He killed 2 of my martial brothers before he died, and 1 from the Heaven Star sect died too." However, this female cultivator took both crisp green vines and said that because her friend died, she was going to take both. "I didn't agree, so she was about to kill me, but luckily, this Xiaoma Qianbei came by. He asked about what was going on and asked her to hand over the crisp green vine. She didn't give it and left. Xiaoma Qianbei didn't do anything to her because she left." Guoqifan raised his voice speaking about this. "My life was saved by Xiaoma Qianbei. I must help him prove that this woman is lying. I know I'm a 5-star sect member and I might die for what I said, but I must say it." Qing Han sneered. "Tell us your name and sect." "I don't believe that they dare to do something to you and your sect. I always hear about the thief calling out thieves, but this is the first time I've actually seen it. He's Cultivation Cauldron sect's Guoqifan. I know him," someone said from the crowd. Qing Han said again, "Okay." She didn't say anything else after that, but clearly everyone knew what she meant. She remembered this sect name, and if anything happened to it, it would be due to the Heaven Star sect. Ling Xiaoshuang didn't stop Qing Han. She felt that Guoqifan was telling the truth and that Jiyu was lying. Pandai turned around and asked Jiyu, "Martial Sister Yu, tell me, is that person lying? We're just an 8-star sect, but we're not people to be easily threatened." Clearly, Pandai was unhappy with Qing Han's dominance, but she was rather reasonable and didn't attack before sorting things out. If she was sure that Emo did it, then even if Qing Han helped him, she must kill Emo. Jiyu looked down and didn't say anything. She knew that if she lied and caused conflict between the 2 sects, she would die for sure. But it was just that one word and Pandai knew that she really had wronged Ning Xiaoma. Her face immediately turned sour. "Give it," she said to Jiyu. Jiyu took out the 2 crisp green vines. Pandai took one and threw it to Emo. "I was impulsive just then. Sorry. Have this crisp green vine back." Emo took it and gave it to Guoqifan. He didn't say anything in reply. Pandai apologized, but her tone was stiff. When Tsai, who was going to cause trouble for Emo, saw the tables turn and decided to not pursue it. Ling Xiaoshuang wanted to ask a lot of things from her martial sister, but she couldn't really do so in front of so many people. At this moment, another 2 sword lights dashed over. Emo focused his eyes and saw it was a short-haired, bulky man and a dark-faced, skinny man. Both were hollow spirit state cultivators, just hollow spirit state level 1. But he knew that faced against them, his chances of getting the bitter bamboo were even slimmer. Qing Han walked over to Yimo and introduced them to him. One of them is Jin Gong Temple's Ku Xin, the other is Godwin Valley's Duanjuyang. I'll go greet my martial sister from my sect. How about you come with us? Yimo shook his head. He didn't want to see this Ling Xiaoshuang the most. Seeing this, Qing Han thought about what martial sister Xiaoshuang had said and didn't say anything. She just took her martial sister to go meet up first. Everyone came to greet the two hollow spirit state cultivators. The short, bulky man stood at the level 6 formation and looked around for a while before saying, Doyang, do you think is the Truth Fall Palace forbidden grounds? Duan Jiang looked at it for a while and nodded. It should be. I didn't expect the forbidden grounds to appear again after 1,000 years. Is this good or bad? Yimo had never heard of the Truth Fall Palace forbidden grounds. Guichifan saw Yimo frown and whispered to Yimo, Xiaomai Qian Bei before. When the Truth Fall Palace appeared, people would always find the Truth Fall Palace forbidden grounds. For the last 1,000 years, however, it never appeared. What is the Truth Fall Palace forbidden grounds? Yimo asked in confusion. Guichifan immediately said, It's said that there are countless treasures inside, but 19 out of 20 people who enter die. Yimo thought, if this forbidden ground is so terrifying, why were there still people going? Guichifan continued explaining, ever since the forbidden grounds stopped appearing, people researched those Qian Bei who ascended into the immortal realm. They found out that they'd all been to the Truth Fall Palace forbidden grounds. South Peace State hasn't had anyone ascend for a millennium. People guessed it might be related to the Truth Fall Palace forbidden grounds. Yimo looked at the excited cultivators and understood. It was every cultivator's dream to ascend into the immortal realm. And Guichifan looked at the hollow spirit state cultivator and said again, I heard that people have found immortal cultivation homes in the forbidden grounds and taken them out. Yimo was truly shocked this time. That was equivalent to his golden page world in the cultivation realm. Although he knew that no immortal cultivation home could compare with the golden page world, this was the cultivation realm. No wonder so many people wanted to go in. Each sect formed their own squad. We'll attack this restriction together, Duan Jiang said. With so many nascent soul state cultivators and 2 hollow spirit state cultivators, a level 6 formation wasn't going to last long at all. 15 minutes later, everyone heard a rumble as this level 6 defense formation was completely broken. A vibrant red light appeared before everyone. Chapter 1052. One Sai's Invitation. Chapter 1052. One Sai's Invitation. The word restriction hung above the hexagonal door in big red characters. This reminded Yimo of the hexagonal hall he saw at the All-Herb mountain ranges. But there seemed to be endless dark mists rustling about inside the door. His spirit sense couldn't reach inside at all. It really is Truth Fall Palace forbidden grounds, Ku Xian said. It really is the forbidden grounds. Many cultivators saw this and couldn't help exclaiming. Ku Xian and Duan Juyang glanced at each other before nodding with certainty. Let's go. Then, the two dashed inside. With 2 hollow spirit state cultivators going inside first, the cultivators behind all followed. There was no cultivator who didn't want to ascend into the immortal realm. If there was a cultivator who feared death, he wouldn't be in the Truth Fall Palace. So as soon as the forbidden grounds opened, everyone rushed in. There were previously about 700 people at the stony beach, but now there were less than half. Amongst these cultivators, Yimo was the most confused. He could tell that this was Yu Baixing Qian Bei's defense formation. How could it be the entrance to the forbidden grounds? Yimo soon found that not all the people from those 6-star and above sects entered. After discussion, the Golden Core State cultivators all left. Without a doubt, they went on to Truth Fall Palace Level 4. It was indeed dangerous for Golden Core State cultivators to enter if the forbidden grounds were as dangerous as Guichifan said. At this moment, Qinghan and them walked up to Yimo. Qingyi asked, Martial Brother Xiaoma, are you going inside as well? Yimo nodded. He was going for sure, regardless of whether it was related to immortal ascension. Just the bitter bamboo being there meant that he had to go, or he would regret it forever. Plus, He had the golden page world. He didn't believe he would die there. Seeing this, Qing Han and them fell silent. Qing Han said after a while, "Our sect has 6 nascent soul state martial sisters going inside. We need to go to level 4 and level 5 to collect spirit herbs and materials for the sect." Martial brother Xiaoma, I asked my big sister, and she said the small transmission rune would be greatly weakened in a level 3 trap formation. It's not even able to escape from a nascent soul state primary stage cultivator's spirit sense. Although I don't know how you got away, I know that you're no ordinary cultivator. So, martial brother Xiaoma, if my martial sisters are in trouble, please help them if you can. Martial sister Xiao Shuang just has some misunderstanding with you. Don't think too much of it. Don't worry. If they're in trouble, I won't watch from the side. I haven't thanked you guys for before, Emo quickly said. Then we'll be going. Martial brother Xiaoma, take care. This is for you. You must look at it later. Qing Han took out a jade slip and marked something on it before giving it to Emo. Emo put it away and didn't mind it too much. He thought it was probably Qing Han's words of gratitude. Martial brother Xiaoma, if you make it out, come visit us at Clear Dream Mosque when you're free. Qingyi wanted to leave the least, but they knew that Emo was definitely going into the forbidden grounds. Qingyue and Xia Yushan came to bid Emo farewell as well before leaving. The cultivators of other sects began leaving too. Guo Qifan saluted with his fists to Emo again. Xiaoma Qianbei, I'll be going too in the future. Emo waved his hand and smiled. He took out a jade bottle and gave it to him. Brother Guo, you don't need to be like this. If I'm free, I'll visit you guys at Cultivation Cauldron Sect for sure. Guo Qifan took the pill and found that this scene was very similar to the scene when Emo gave him pills. After Guo Qifan had walked a long way, he opened the jade bottle. The contents shocked him even more than the pill Emo had given him before. It was a Chao Huan pill. If Guo Qifan didn't realize that Xiaoma Qianbei was Emo right now, he would be an idiot. No nascent soul state cultivator would be bored enough to be friends with a golden core state cultivator other than that brother Yi he had met. Plus, he said visit you guys. That clearly included Yin Qi and Ding Ling. When he first met him, Emo was only golden core state primary stage. Now, brother Yi was already a nascent soul state cultivator. What was a prodigy? Guo Qifan suddenly felt that the prodigies of South Peace State were a far cry compared to brother Yi. Such a prodigy was willing to be his friend and give him a Chao Huan pill so casually. How lucky he was to have such friend. Guo Qifan, who felt quite defeated after losing a few sect members, suddenly found the will to fight again. Soon, the people left on this rocky beach only numbered in the tens. Emo didn't move. He was in no rush to go inside. He wanted to know how the bitter bamboo location became the Truth Fall Palace Forbidden Grounds. Of course, there was another thing that was more important. Fu Rong hadn't entered yet. Yuan Guanan said to Wen Tsai, "Martial sister Tsai, everyone else went in. Let's go in together as a team." Wen Tsai smiled at Yuan Guanan and suddenly walked up to Emo. "Martial brother Xiaoma, hello? I really admire your heroic acts. If you don't mind, we can go in as a team. I'm Wen Tsai, Infinity Sect's member." No one expected Wen Tsai to suddenly do this. There was such a difference between their status. How could Wen Tsai call Emo so intimately as martial brother Xiaoma? Even Ling Xiaoshuang was dazed, not sure why Wen Tsai was doing this. Emo wasn't sure either, but he was sure that Wen Tsai knew that he was the cultivator who had slapped her face with 10 million spirit stones. But Emo looked at the bleak-faced Yuan Guanan and those nascent soul state tertiary stage cultivators who hadn't gone in yet and realized Wen Tsai's intentions. This woman showed affection to him to make other male cultivators unhappy with him. If he was alone, it wouldn't do him any good. This was a woman who knew how to use her looks. She was pretty, but she had a shitty personality and such sinister plots. Emo suddenly felt disgusted with this Wen Tsai to the extreme. Wen Tsai indeed did this for the reasons Emo thought, but it was targeted at those few nascent soul state level 8s 9s. And there was one more thing. Wen Tsai genuinely wanted to invite Emo to go with her. Lu Jianxiang wasn't much weaker than Yuan Guanan. If Ning Xiaoma could kill Lu Jianqing so silently, it meant that Yuan Guanan was no match for him. From Ling Xiaoshuang, she knew that Ning Xiaoma was a lecherous person and she knew that Ling Xiaoshuang never lied. Chapter 1053. Killing Fu Rong. Chapter 1053. Killing Fu Rong. Yimo glanced at Wan Tsai plainly. No matter what intentions this woman had, he didn't want to be on the same team as her, but he knew that he couldn't start a conflict with her. It wasn't that he was afraid of her, but if he had a conflict with Wan Tsai, Yuan Guanan would be the first to stand up for her. In that case, he wouldn't be able to hide his strength. If he beat Yuan Guanan, he would expose his strength, and that way he would immediately garner unwanted fame. A nascent soul state who could enter Truth Fall Palace was nothing, but one who could beat the #1 genius of the Infinity Sect would immediately catch the attention of the entire South Peace State. Perhaps the next moment, everything about him would be investigated. He came from Pei High City and Tian Alfing died in the Heartless Sea. It was easy to connect this correlation with him. So, although he despised this woman a lot, he tried to calm his tone. Martial Sister One, how about you go in first? I'm very timid and I'm not sure if I should go in. I heard it's really dangerous in there. I don't want to lose my life easily, but I'm very grateful that you chose me. Then, Yimo forced a smile and saluted with his fists. Ling Xiaoshuang looked at Yimo in confusion. She thought that with someone as pretty as Wan Tsai, Yimo would immediately happy agree to go with her and even drool. How could he reject? Was he really scared of death? Wan Tsai didn't expect Yimo to reject her. Didn't Ling Xiaoshuang say he was lewd? Wan Tsai was very prideful. Even though she had nefarious intentions inviting Yimo, she still felt very uncomfortable being rejected. She believed that Yimo should be scurrying to be with her. She looked at Yimo scornfully and said to Yuan Guanan, "Martial brother Yuan, let's go." Yuan Guanan gave Yimo a cold look as though Yimo was already dead meat. He didn't believe a genius like him would die inside. So regardless of whether Yimo went in or not, he would take Yimo's life after he came out. With this, more nascent soul state cultivators entered. Ling Xiaoshuang and her martial sister stopped by Yimo and said, "With your capabilities, why do such lewd things? There will be plenty of good girls who like you." Although her martial sisters already said that Yimo saved them, she already had a negative opinion of Yimo and felt that Yimo had a purpose to doing everything. However, he indeed did help Qing Han and them. Yimo was most scared of being with Ling Xiaoshuang. He didn't want to fight with her, as she would immediately know that he was the cultivator who left after the trial. Yimo immediately let some joy show in his eyes and stared at Ling Xiaoshuang intently. Then, in fact my feelings for others are fake. When I first saw you, Shameless. Ling Xiaoshuang couldn't control her anger anymore and cursed at Yimo before turning towards the door. Her martial sisters also looked at Yimo disappointedly before going in. Luckily Wan Tsai wasn't here, or she might rage seeing that Yimo had rejected her but showed interest in Ling Xiaoshuang. At this moment, there was only Yimo and Fu Rong here. Fu Rong was really worried. He didn't care about the forbidden grounds. He just wanted the bitter bamboo like Yimo. But almost everyone had gone in now. Why didn't this Ning Xiaoma go in? Just when he was planning to talk to Ning Xiaoma, he found that Ning Xiaoma turned around and smiled at him before saying calmly, "Brother Fu, it's been a while. How have you been?" Yimo was nascent soul state level 3 now. Even if Fu Rong had the small transmission rune, he was prepared for it. Plus, he didn't believe that Fu Rong would have a second one. Fu Rong's body shook, and he looked at Yimo with uncertainty and shock. Yimo took off stealth sand and said, "Brother Fu, you're really forgetful. You've forgotten me already? Last time you said you weren't going to let me go, but you've forgotten me already? I'm really disappointed." "You're Yimo?" Fu Rong immediately began to sweat. He was scared of Yimo the most now. This cultivator of unknown origin was not only extremely cunning, but also stronger than him. Just as Yimo guessed, he only had one small transmission rune. "So it's Brother Yi. Last time we had some misunderstanding. I'll apologize now." Fu Rong thought desperately of a way to escape. Yimo sneered. "No need for apologies, but I want to know, what's your father's name?" Hearing this, Fu Rong was even more shocked. Yimo asked this question, meaning that he probably already knew of his schemes. "Why did everyone go in but you? How did you find Yu Baixing Qian Bei's stealth formation?" Yimo asked. Fu Rong's heart sunk. Yemo's words meant that he knew about the bitter bamboo. He must have met Yunyangyan too. Fu Rong thought, why didn't she die? Why did Yemo see her? What do you want to let me go? Fu Rong asked. Let you go? Yemo smiled. I've never thought of doing that. I've already promised a few people to kill you. Even I myself want to kill you. But if you can answer me, I'll give you some freedom. Otherwise, I will give your nascent soul to Li Qianping. So it's that bitch. Fu Rong realized. He and his father schemed so hard just for the bitter bamboo. Now, the bitter bamboo was gone and he had already despaired, now feeling even worse after being threatened by Yemo. But he would never tell everything about the bitter bamboo. Fu Rong didn't want to talk anymore and released a long black sword. There was a sharp shriek upon its release. Yemo knew this sword. It was a low-grade cultivation artifact called Gray Sparrow found in Yu Baixing's storage ring. Yemo realized why it had such a name. It had a sharp sparrow shriek that could cause chaos in cultivator's cultivation essence. But Yemo's cultivation essence was far stronger than Fu Rong's. As soon as Fu Rong pulled out Gray Sparrow, Zissou already brought 3 purple sword rays over. Fu Rong was cunning, and since he didn't want to talk, Yemo didn't have the time to talk with him. This illusion cloud essence binding strike meant that Yemo didn't want to give Fu Rong any chance of escape. Fu Rong spat out blood immediately. He hadn't even finished his first move and was already preparing his blood escape. He had never planned to fight with Yemo. He was still scared from his last fight with Yemo. But soon, he felt that his cultivation essence just ran around his body, unable to leave the surrounding space. Fu Rong was shaken. He didn't expect that Yemo's move could bind his cultivation essence as well. This meant that he couldn't use blood mobility. Fu Rong was regretful. If he didn't just think about running and used Gray Sparrow to fight with Yemo, even if he was no match, he could find an opportunity to escape. But now, he had used 90% of his cultivation essence for blood escape, making his Gray Sparrow powerless. However, Yemo's second strike already arrived with intense purple sword rays. He now realized that Yemo wasn't even Nascent Soul State Level 1. He was much stronger than even Nascent Soul State Level 3. Although he wanted to beg for mercy, Yemo's Whirlpool Strike had already hacked his body to pieces. A small nascent soul ran out and wanted to escape, but it was swept by Yemo's sword rays and dispersed in the air in balls of energy. Yemo was planning to give it to Li Qianping, but thinking about the bitter bamboo, he decided not to. He only kept just the head in the end. Chapter 1054. Killing Intent Everywhere. Chapter 1054. Killing Intent Everywhere. After Yemo killed Fu Rong, he immediately came to the hexagonal door. There were no marks of Yu Baixing's stealth formation at all. There was just a big word restriction at the top. He didn't see the bitter bamboo and felt disappointed. Yemo looked at this door but didn't go in. He took out the map the female cultivator gave him. However, the map started making a sizzling sound as though something was being dissolved. Yemo was shook and thought there was something wrong with the map. He just went to throw it away when he found that the map had completely changed. The surface was gone, showing a new map instead. There was just a big black mountain and some markings towards it. On the black mountain was planted a green crisp bamboo. Bitter bamboo? Yemo almost called out. He resisted his excitement and stared at the words on the map. Space Formation Door, Truth Fall Palace Forbidden Grounds, Bitter Bamboo Shows. What was going on? Yemo was dazed. Even though Yu Baixing was a forgery grandmaster, he wouldn't be able to make such a thing. Was it that he never had the bitter bamboo but only knew where it was? Or was it that his ancestors found the bitter bamboo but weren't able to keep it alive, so they moved it to the World Mountain in the Truth Fall Palace Forbidden Grounds? Regardless, Yemo was very excited. Yu Baixing's formation just blocked the entrance to the Forbidden Grounds. This Yu Baixing really had some capabilities. He found the next entrance to the Forbidden Grounds and set up a formation there, causing the Forbidden Grounds to never open again. At this moment, more cultivation essence waves came. Clearly, more people knew about the Forbidden Grounds and came quickly. Yemo didn't want other people to see him, so he dashed into the door. A sense of emptiness came. It was as though he was walking on ground, and then suddenly, he walked into air. This was indeed a space formation door, But a space formation door wasn't something that an ordinary formation great master like Yu Baisheng could set up. This place was the Truth Fall Palace Forbidden Grounds indeed. When he completely recovered, he found that he was amidst a gray dimension. There were just black rocks everywhere, as well as caves and holes. There wasn't even a drop of water, much less spirit herbs. The spirit chi here was also very impure. Was this really the Truth Fall Palace Forbidden Grounds? The place where treasure was strewn all over the ground? Suddenly, tins of killing chi arrived without any premonition. Even Yimo didn't feel it at all with his powerful sixth sense. Yimo only found out when they arrived. He immediately released Zisu and burst out his cultivation essence. Even so, 2 chi sliced across his back, leaving 2 deep gashes. Yimo was shook. If it wasn't that he had the half-cultivation artifact armor protecting him, that attack was enough to heavily injure him. This definitely wasn't someone or something ambushing him. This killing chi seemed to belong here. Space wind blades. Yimo blurted out. Only such things would be able to injure him silently. Space wind blades weren't as strong as space disposition, but even hollow spirit state cultivators would die facing off against dense space wind blades, much less him. Immediately, 2 more black lightning bolts fell, and he quickly dodged to the side. Luckily, they were different than divine damnation and didn't lock onto him. Rumble rumble, 2 more huge blasts and 2 holes appeared at where Yimo stood, with rubble flying everywhere. Yimo took a deep breath in. Such a harsh environment. No wonder less than 5% of cultivators could survive upon entering. At this moment, a howl of pain sounded. Yimo's spirit sense scanned a nascent soul state level 1 cultivator who just came in getting torn apart by a space wind blade. Yimo grew cautious and took out the map, finding the approximate location of the world mountain and started heading there. Yimo encountered space wind blades and black lightning bolts from time to time, but with experience, he didn't get injured again. He just hoped he wouldn't meet large grounds of space wind blades, or he would have no other choice but to go in the Golden Page world. 2 days later, Yimo still hadn't found anything. A light wind came, and Yimo didn't mind. He scanned his spirit sense out, and his face changed immediately. He dashed into his Golden Page world without thought. After a long while, he came out and found that he wasn't at the place where he went into the Golden Page world. Now he was really worried. There was really space chaos flow. If he wasn't quick to react, he would have been swept away. Space wind blades, space chaos flow, black lightning. Just how many more lethal means were here? Yimo didn't move. He didn't know how long it would take to reach the world mountain with his current speed. Would the Truth Fall Palace be closed by then? Less than 7 minutes later, a few more figures flew past rapidly towards Yimo. Yimo was shaken seeing how fast they went. Did they not want to live? Why weren't they scared? It's you? The head nun was a nascent soul state level 8 from Clear Dream Mosque. Ling Xiaoshuang was behind her. Ling Xiaoshuang was also surprised. She didn't expect Yimo to really come in. Martial sister, let's go quickly. Ling Xiaoshuang had no intention of talking to Yimo. Yimo just wanted to remind them about space chaos flow. Before the nun could reply, a few more people flew over. There were men and women. Their speed was very fast too. Yimo was more shocked. Did these people not fear death? The people who just came seemed to be from the Heaven Star sect. They didn't stop at all and flew past. Seeing this, the nun chased up immediately as though there was something ahead. But he didn't go very far when an enticing figure suddenly flew back. It was a woman. Yimo knew her. It was Pandai. She came in front of Yimo and stopped. Yimo stopped too. If she was going to fight, Yimo wasn't scared of her. But she clearly didn't intend to fight. She looked plainly at Yimo and took out a jade slip, throwing it to Yimo. It was my fault before. This is for you. Then, she left with an even faster speed. Yimo looked at the jade slip and scanned his spirit sense in. When he saw the content, he was shocked and had some gratitude towards this Pandai. The big sects really had a lot of knowledge. No wonder they could go so fast. The jade slip she gave him described how to avoid the space wind blades and space chaos flows. At the same time, he realized why when Tsai asked to group up with him. The main method of avoiding the space wind blades required 2 or more people. He thought of the jade slip Qinghan gave him and immediately looked at it. The contents were similar to what Pandai gave him. Chapter 1055. Hard to ascend the world mountain. Chapter 1055. Hard to ascend the world mountain if two people formed a team. Each person could use their cultivation essence so that they could form a cultivation essence force field. If there were space wind blades, the cultivation essence force field would change, and thus they could avoid it ahead of time. At the same time, one must control their spirit sense to extend to 30 kilometers, no more no less. In this range, spirit sense was very sensitive. If the spirit sense was devoured or disappeared, it meant that the current direction led to space chaos flow, and that it was necessary to change directions. Yemo saw this and realized why these people could go so fast. It was probably because they had so many people go in that they had gathered experience to deal with this. But this experience was only gathered by big sections. Clearly Guichifan didn't know of them. It was certain death for him. Ipandai also said on the jade slip that the place they went towards had something extremely valuable. Yemo put away the jade slip and looked at their direction, but he didn't follow. Even if Ipandai didn't tell him, it was obvious that there was something good there, seeing as how everyone rushed over so desperately. But Yemo had his own business. He needed to go to the world mountain. It wasn't in the opposite direction from everyone's movement, but it wasn't in the same direction either. Ipandai indeed felt bad for misunderstanding Yemo before. She saw Yemo moving like a snail and being careful and affirmed that Yemo was indeed a solo cultivator. He didn't have a way to avoid the space wind blades and chaos flow. Yet, he had lived here for so long and hadn't died. Even she approved of him a little, but she couldn't lose face to apologize to Yemo publicly, so she did what she did just then. She thought that this was enough to repay him for the misunderstanding, because what she gave Yemo was enough to save his life. But when her spirit sense scanned and discovered that Yemo didn't come with them and chose another direction to head in, she sneered and felt that Yemo didn't appreciate her goodwill. She had reminded him that there were good things here, but this guy doubted her and chose another direction. With the experience from the jade slip, Yemo controlled his spirit sense to be about 30 kilometers. He carefully walked a few hundred kilometers and found that this method was almost foolproof in avoiding space chaos flow. Yemo increased his speed. As for the space wind blades, Yemo could sense some. Even if he encountered them, he had ways to dodge them. Eventually, Yemo became more than twice as fast as Ling Xiaoshuang in them. A few days later, although the space wind blade and chaos flow didn't trouble him anymore, the black lightning grew more and more intense. Even though he had a lightning spirit root and could devour lightning sources, as well as possessing a half-cultivation artifact armor to protect him, he was still covered in wounds due to the barrage of lightning these past few days. Eventually, he had to slow down. If it was someone else, they would have died many times already. Even hollow spirit state or body condensation state cultivators weren't able to dodge this lightning. Even without the space chaos flow, the Forbidden Grounds was still a lethal place. On the 11th day, Yemo saw the world mountain ahead of him. It was a huge, black mountain, seemingly without any signs of life. But when he felt it carefully, it seemed that all the life in the Forbidden Grounds was on this mountain. Black lightning kept appearing on the mountain. Undoubtedly, the black lightning came from this world mountain. Yemo was shocked. The Forbidden Grounds seemed boundlessly huge, but this huge black mountain radiated the black lightning across the entire Forbidden Grounds. Clearly, this world mountain was no ordinary place. But the closer he got to the world mountain, the more lightning he encountered. Yemo suspected that before he would even get to the mountain, he would be blasted into dust. This shouldn't be called World Mountain, it should be called Lightning Mountain. His spirit sense couldn't reach to the top of the mountain, so he wasn't sure if the bitter bamboo was actually there, but since he had come, he didn't plan to leave. However, there was too much black lightning in front of him. The closer he got, the denser the bolts were. How could he go up? Even if he had the lightning spirit root, he wouldn't be able to get on the world mountain. Yemo thought that perhaps he could use the lightning attraction formation. Besides that, Yemo really couldn't think of a way to get to the top of the mountain. With the density of the lightning, even body condensation state cultivators might not be able to make it up. Even with the lightning attraction formation, Yemo wasn't sure if he could make it. After all, the lightning was too dense. Emo poured out all the materials he had in his storage ring and kept making formation flags. He used almost all of his materials except the ones he had saved for making a flying magic artifact. He worked for 5 days without rest in the Golden Page world, and when he walked out again, he started setting up the formation. According to his plan, he needed to draw the lightning strikes far away so he could charge up the mountain freely. A few days later, Emo set up a huge lightning attraction formation far away from the World Mountain. Emo changed it a little, so it didn't let the explosion happen inside the formation. Otherwise, not even level 7 or level 8 formation would be able to survive. It had been almost a month since he had come in the Truthfall Palace Forbidden Grounds, yet he still hadn't even touched the World Mountain yet. His body was struck again and again while he was setting up the formation. But luckily, his formation finally succeeded. Emo sighed. If he could direct all this lightning into the formation, he might even be able to create the number 1 power station on Earth. After all was ready, Emo knew that everything depended on his success. If he failed, then all his days of work and his materials would have gone to waste. Emo threw the first formation flag out, and a black bolt of lightning quickly flew into the lightning attraction formation far away, and an explosion sounded. Emo carefully watched his lightning attraction formation and saw it was fine. He immediately rejoiced. He kept throwing out his formation flags, drawing more lightning bolts away. But there were too many lightning bolts on the World Mountain. He was still struck by many lightning strikes, but at least his life wasn't in danger. Emo checked the lightning attraction formation and found it wasn't as stable as before. Even the lightning attraction formation wasn't able to take in so much lightning and not get damaged. He had to be quick, otherwise, if the lightning attraction formation was destroyed, he wouldn't have any more opportunities. Thinking about this, Emo threw formation flags along the way while using the 3 birth chant to the max and running. Huge mushroom clouds appeared at the lightning attraction formation. Emo's power also increased as he devoured more lightning source. However, the power of the lightning Emo had to deal was increasing as well. The higher he went up the mountain, the more powerful the lightning was. Eventually, Emo threw more and more formation flags rapidly as he was scared of being zapped to dust. In a huge, rumbling explosion that Emo heard clearly, even from the World Mountain, the lightning attraction formation finally exploded. The lightning attraction formation couldn't take it anymore and was obliterated. Before he could think much, more black lightning fell. But at the top where the bitter bamboo stood, it was peaceful. It was as though this was a completely different world. At this moment, Emo seemed to have some sudden enlightenment and sat down. He felt his power slowly increasing and consolidating even though he wasn't cultivating. This time, Emo didn't take long to wake up. He looked at this bitter bamboo in shock. He didn't even cultivate and he was enlightened. Imagine if he was cultivating. The bitter bamboo could be used for forgery, but who would use this heavenly treasure for such a thing? Emo became more excited when he found that the spirit chi here was completely different than the spirit chi outside. It was not only dense, but very pure as well. Emo realized the bitter bamboo could probably only survive on the World Mountain. It was impossible to move such a huge mountain into his Golden Page world. He couldn't do that, but he had another way. He had a spirit range in his Golden Page world, and if he dug out the rock the bitter bamboo was growing on and moved it into the spirit range, it would probably survive. Emo took out a top-grade spirit artifact flying sword and tried to cut out the rock, but he saw a gray tablet to the side. The World Mountain was completely black and the bitter bamboo was green. This gray-white tablet seemed very obvious. The tablet had the words, "You family bitter bamboo. Non-you family members, please don't touch it, or you will be hunted to the ends of the world. You only." Emo was dazed but immediately reacting. He smashed the tablet to pieces and sneered. He was more certain that the bitter bamboo had nothing to do with the Yu family. It might have always been here, and when the Truthfall Palace opened, the Yu family ancestor Yu Wanli came here and somehow found this. Then, he considered the bitter bamboo to the Yu family's personal belonging. Although Emo looked down on what Yu Wanli did, he approved of Yu Wanli's power to be able to get here. He himself almost died to the lightning bolts. This guy not only came but went back as well. Clearly, he was much stronger than him. It was obvious that there were many powerful people in the world, and he was far from being able to compare. If he had time, he would ask around about who this Yuanli was. The only strange thing was, since Yuanli came here, why didn't he dig the bitter bamboo away? Yimo smiled and decided not to bother thinking about it. Sorry, but I'm going to take this bitter bamboo. Thinking this, Yimo released his spirit artifact flying sword and started digging at the rock. Clank Yimo used his full power, but the flying sword didn't even leave a mark on the rock. Yimo was shaken. The world mountain black rock was this hard? He began to realize why Yuanli didn't take the bitter bamboo away. Yimo used even more power with the flying sword this time, and it banged even louder. But Yimo found his top-grade spirit artifact flying sword had completely broken. Yimo was dazed for a moment before smiling bitterly. Yimo didn't want to use Zisu. That was his precious sword. If it broke, he wouldn't be able to find something as good as it again. Yimo took out the gray sparrow sword he got from Fu Rong. This was a low-grade cultivation artifact. It should have some effect. Yimo used his cultivation essence and dug at the rock. Clank this time, there was a slight mark left on the rock, but Yimo wiped with his hands and the mark was gone. Clearly, even a low-grade cultivation artifact wasn't able to dig the bitter bamboo away. Yimo sat defeated on the ground. He didn't try anymore because he knew it was useless. At this moment, Yimo realized that the world mountain was no ordinary thing either. It was on par with bitter bamboo, but with his current power, he wouldn't even be able to cut off one piece, much less move away the entire mountain. Chapter 1057. Changes on the World Mountain. Chapter 1057. Changes on the World Mountain. Yimo got up and walked around the bitter bamboo a few times before suddenly rejoicing. Other people might not be able to take it, but he might have a way. He raised his hand, and a red flame appeared in it. This was the red-colored heaven flame, Mist Lotus Heart Fire. If even this heaven flame wasn't able to cut it open, then he would have no other methods. The only thing he could do was get a tablet and write, "This is Yimo's bitter bamboo. Anyone who touches it will be done for." If he really did that, even he would laugh at himself. Suddenly, Yimo felt that the Yuanli must be a funny guy. Yimo began cutting the rock with the Mist Lotus Heart Fire. Sizzling sounds were emitted and the air nearby was burnt to nothing by the power of the heaven flame. After 15 minutes, Yimo checked where he was cutting. There was a faint mark. The Mist Lotus Heart Fire could indeed cut the black rock, but according to this speed, he might only be able to finish it a few hundred years later. Yimo got up and looked at the range he chose to cut. He shook his head. This range was too big. Luckily, his Mist Lotus Heart Fire could still cut the rock. In order to reduce time, Yimo minimized the region he was cutting. He had chosen a 10-meter radius before, but now he chose a 3-meter radius. He had decided to spend a few decades up to a century to cut it. He wondered if he would be teleported out when the time was up. When Yimo started cutting at around a 3-meter radius, he found that the rock here was much softer. It had only been 15 minutes, but the depth of his incision was much deeper than before. Yimo thought, was the rock softer the closer it was to the bitter bamboo? He moved to about 30 centimeters from the bitter bamboo and started cutting. Yimo was joyful to find that his idea was right. Although the cultivation artifact couldn't cut anymore, the heaven flame was more effective the closer he got. With this speed, he would be able to dig the bitter bamboo out in less than half a month. Luckily, this bitter bamboo wasn't very thick, and so a diameter of 60 centimeters was enough to dig the bitter bamboo out. As for whether this range was too close and would hurt the bitter bamboo, Yimo couldn't care about it too much. No matter what, he was going to get the bitter bamboo. If he extended the diameter to 1.2 meters, he would need about half a year's time to cut it out. 12 days later, Yimo had completely cut the bitter bamboo out. He was full of joy and about to move it into his golden page world, but when he used his cultivation essence and spirit sense, he realized he was far from understanding the black rock. With his nascent soul state level 4 power and using his full power, Yimo wasn't even able to move this piece of it into his golden page world. Yimo started burning his essence blood. After that, he just barely managed to move the bitter bamboo into his golden page world. Sitting down inside the golden page world, Emo breathed heavily. He had finally brought it in. The bitter bamboo was his now. Emo wanted to move the bitter bamboo next to the spirit range, but remembering that this rock was extremely heavy, he could only plant it here. But when Emo was prepared to move it, the rock around the bitter bamboo fell off by itself. The black rock automatically sunk into the earth inside the golden page world and made a huge crater. Meanwhile, the bitter bamboo's roots were exposed to the outside. Emo was surprised. Why did the black rock fall off itself? When he looked at the bitter bamboo, he found that the lively bamboo was a bit withered and its condition was worsening. Not good. Emo would have never thought that the bitter bamboo, one of the 10 great spirit items, would wither up. Emo was shaken. Could the bitter bamboo really not be moved away? Did he have to lose the bitter bamboo after all that hard work? Emo didn't want to do that. He quickly brought the bitter bamboo next to the spirit range and planted it there. Emo breathed easy. The bitter bamboo stopped withering. However, it wasn't as lively as before. Emo looked at the bitter bamboo with frustration and then at the huge spirit range. He gritted his teeth and moved the spirit range completely under the bitter bamboo. This way, he didn't have a spirit range cultivation home to cultivate in. He could only cultivate next to the bitter bamboo. After Emo did this, he found that the bitter bamboo recovered some life force. It wasn't as lively as when it was on the World Mountain, but it much better than before. What shook him even more was that he felt his golden page world change. It wasn't a dead dull gray like before and now had a strong, powerful life force. Even the spirit herbs in here emitted strong life force. One of the 10 great spirit items, it lives up to its name indeed, Emo murmured. He knew he had to get large amounts of spirit ranges for the bitter bamboo. A mere low-grade peak spirit range was far from enough for it. Despite all the hard work, Emo was very happy that he got the bitter bamboo. As for the black rock, Emo didn't touch it. He felt it wasn't simple, but it was just like the World Mountain. He didn't have the capability to study it. Once he was a hollow spirit state, he would be able to take it out and see. Emo left the golden page world. He wanted to dig some more black rocks and sent them inside his golden page world. He felt the black rock on the World Mountain was definitely something good, so precious that he didn't dare to imagine. When Emo came to the hole where the bitter bamboo used to be and cut with his mist lotus heart fire, he found that no matter what he did, it didn't leave any marks at all. Emo realized that the reason he was able to burn the rock was not because his heaven flame was powerful, but because the bitter bamboo was here. Without a doubt, he wouldn't be able to burn the black rock in his golden page world. Emo shook his head and wasn't too disappointed. He thought, what if a powerful being could spirit control the World Mountain? Who would be a match for him? Could he? Emo asked himself, and then immediately shook his head. He was sure that even truth realization state peak cultivators weren't able to spirit control the World Mountain. Only a true immortal could. But how could a real immortal come to the Truth Fall Palace Forbidden Grounds? Emo cast those thoughts aside. What he should be worrying about was how to get off the mountain. Emo scanned his spirit sense down the World Mountain and was shocked to find that the black lightning had all disappeared. What was in front of him was just a very ordinary black mountain. It must have something to do with the bitter bamboo being moved away. He needed to use this opportunity to get down the mountain. Who knew if that black lightning would come back? Suddenly, he felt the mountain shake as though something was being brought up, and he couldn't resist at all. Emo felt himself fall from the high sky. He quickly released Zissou before being able to regain his balance. He scanned his spirit sense out to see what happened, but the scene he saw was devastating. The World Mountain had left the ground and started flipping around in the air. Suddenly, it was covered by endless black clouds and devoured. Emo looked down, only to see a boundless deep trench below him. Before he could look at this, 2 figures started rapidly coming towards him. Chapter 1058. That was just a warm-up? Chapter 1058. That was just a warm-up. Emo was speechless when he saw who had arrived. Truthfall Palace was so big and there were so many people here, but he happened to know both of the people who came. One was Yi Pandai, and the other was Wu Yu from Eternity Sea Sect. Yi Mo had conflict with Wu Yu before over Cheng Nana, but while in the Truthfall Palace, he couldn't really attack Yi Mo. But clearly, Wu Yu was hunting down Yi Pandai now. Wu Yu was only from a 7-star sect, but for some reason he dared to hunt someone from an 8-star sect. At this moment, Yi Pandai had messy hair as well as wounds all over her body. There was blood on her chest. Seeing these two, Yi Mo immediately showed his power to be Nascent Soul State Level 3. If people knew he had gone from Nascent Soul State Level 3 to Level 4 in such a short time, he would be noticed. Yi Pandai and Wu Yu were dazed upon seeing Yi Mo. Clearly, they didn't expect to see him here. "It's you," Yi Pandai subconsciously said, but immediately realized she had brought trouble to Yi Mo. Wu Yu was Nascent Soul State Level 7 and ranked 267 on the trial tablet. Wu Yu saw Yi Mo and laughed. He didn't think his luck was this good. He had been wanting to kill Ning Xiaoma, and now he had run into him. "What are you doing here?" "This is the Black Lightning area." Yi Pandai suddenly paused. She wanted to use the Black Lightning to escape from Wu Yu, but she didn't see any Black Lightning here. "You have so many people from your sect. Why are you still alone and being hunted?" Yi Mo asked. He had seen a Nascent Soul State Level 8 and Level 4 with her before. Yi Pandai glanced coldly at Yi Mo and said, "This has nothing to do with you. Go. This is between me and Wu Yu." Yi Mo smiled. If it was someone else, he would really want to leave, but he had promised Cheng Nana that he would kill this Wu Yu. "You want to go?" "Ning, I can only say you're unlucky to meet me. If I let you go, I wouldn't need to cultivate anymore," Wu Yu sneered. Yi Pandai looked at Yi Mo in confusion. "You have a feud with him?" Yi Mo nodded and glanced at Yi Pandai, who was in a mess. "That's right, I have a feud with him. This has nothing to do with you. Go first. I need to get revenge from him." Yi Pandai frowned and said, "Even though you're Nascent Soul State Level 3, do you think you're a match for this Wu? He's already Nascent Soul State Level 7 and ranked 267 on the trial tablet." Yi Mo sneered. He killed a Nascent Soul State trial tablet ranked 219 when he was only Nascent Soul State Level 3, but now that he was Nascent Soul State Level 4, he would be able to kill Wu Yu effortlessly. "Haha, since you're both here, none of you need to leave. Yi Pandai, if you give me the soft water spirit bead, you can go. We're both sect members from big sections. However, I must kill this person." Wu Yu glared coldly at Yi Mo. Soft water spirit bead. The difference in power was huge when using Zisu, but the sword rays existed and grew in number rapidly. Wu Yu, who had been taking it easy, felt mounting pressure. Wu Yu was shocked. This was completely outside of his expectation. Even Yi Pandai was dazed after being freed. She felt Yi Mo had the upper hand and stood on the side. Yi Mo saw this and yelled, "Are you dumb? That's my strongest move. I can't last for long. If you still won't go, then let's die together." Yi Pandai realized Yi Mo's predicament. He was only Nascent Soul State primary stage. He had no other choice but to use his strongest move to hold Wu Yu there. Thinking about this, she released her flying sword and dashed away. "Hold on a bit longer. I'll get help immediately." Wu Yu was beginning to worry, but hearing that Yi Mo wouldn't be able to last long, he immediately felt secure. But now that Yi Pandai was leaving, he was still nervous. He quickly took back his fan and weaved more hand signs. Bleak chi grew out of his body that seemed like living ropes, wanting to bind Yi Mo. Yi Mo sneered. He took back the flying sword that was emitting sword rays and brought out a faint purple sword. He then looked at Wu Yu in contempt. "That was just my warm-up. This is my first strike." Chapter 1059. Real Treasure. Chapter 1059. Real Treasure. Wu Yu saw this and rejoiced. He thought that if Yi Mo didn't take back the flying sword, he would need to exert some effort to annihilate the sword rays. But this guy was an idiot and used an ordinary kitchen knife. "Take my strike." Zisu brought very long purple sword rays and hacked outwards. Countless whirlpool sword rays formed from around it, sealing Wu Yu's exit off. The dense, bleak chi was melted away by the purple sword rays like the scorching sun. Wu Yu felt his cultivation essence weaken and was shocked to find that the bleak chi which his spirit sense was attached to had completely disappeared. Before he could do anything, the purple kitchen knife appeared before his eyes. Wu Yu immediately began to worry. He even felt that he wasn't able to break free from the purple sword ray surrounding him, much less face this huge purple sword. At this moment, Wu Yu realized that this Ning Xiaoma wasn't as ordinary as he looked. Without hesitation, his fan exploded. Even Yimo didn't expect this move. After the explosion, an extremely putrid smell wafted out. Even Yimo had to retreat. It was too disgusting. He even felt some dizziness. There must be some really strong poison inside. Yimo used his cultivation essence and refined the poison, but Wu Yu used that brief moment to escape like a shooting star enveloped in frost chi. Clearly, he felt that after the brief clash, he was no match for Yimo, despite not using a lot of his other moves. Seeing that frost chi flow about to disappear, Yimo hacked out with Zisu again, and the sword chi in the distance gathered again. They seemed to be alive and turned around, stopping the frosty chi flow that Wu Yu turned into. That frosty chi flow materialized into Wu Yu again, but his face was pale. What sword technique is this? It can gather a dissipated sword ray? Wu Yu asked. Illusion cloud exert will strike. Yimo sneered. How could he let this guy run? He didn't take back the dispersed sword chi before to prevent Wu Yu from escaping. He didn't expect to actually have to use it. If he wasn't prepared, Wu Yu would have really gotten away. Your nascent soul state tertiary stage, not nascent soul state level 3. Wu's fan had broken and now he released another extreme grade spirit artifact flying sword. Yimo didn't say anything. The reason he didn't kill Wu Yu was because he wanted to ask him a question. Wu Yu said, I'm the core disciple of Eternity C sect, ranked 267 on the nascent soul state trial tablet. If you kill me, you will be forever hunted by the Eternity C sect. Yimo sneered. Rank 267 doesn't mean shit. There was a ranked 219 Lu Jianxiang and I killed him. Why would I care about a trash like you? You killed Lu Jianxiang? Wu Yu was shocked. Although he was ranked 267, he knew that he was no match for Lu Jianxiang at all. If Lu Jianxiang wanted to kill him, it would be very easy. He didn't expect that demon cultivator Lu Jianxiang to be killed by this Ning Xiaoma. He finally understood why Ning Xiaoma said, Don't let me meet you as well. I've really never heard of the Eternity C sect, so don't threaten me with that. I just want to ask, who took in Chungnana? Yimo asked calmly. Wu Yu heard this and immediately blurted out, Brother Ning, if you want to go after Chungnana, I can get it done for you, I promise. Yimo slapped him twice in the face after seeing that Wu Yu was still trying to be smart. Before Wu Yu said anything, Yimo asked again, There was a man with Chungnana. Did your sect send people to kill him? Wu Yu felt insulted by this, but he unconsciously answered, I don't know. I didn't go take in disciples and I wouldn't be interested in small people like that. Yimo was sure that Wu Yu didn't know anything, so before he begged for mercy, Yimo just sent a tongue of heaven flame over. After killing Wu Yu, Yimo left. He wasn't going to wait for that Ipandai. Yimo had been gone for a long while before Ipandai retuned in desperation, but unfortunately, she saw nothing but a huge hole. She had looked around for a long time before and sent out many messages, but the Truthful Palace Forbidden Grounds was too big and she wasn't able to find any help. In her desperation, she came back, but she found that both Wu Yu and Yimo was gone. Ipandai fell silent. Although she didn't even know Ning Xiaoma before and only gave him a jade slip to apologize, she was sure that Ning Xiaoma wouldn't be dead if it wasn't for her. Don't worry, I will kill Wu Yu and get revenge for you. Ipandai looked at the huge hole and murmured. At this moment, Yimo was 10,000 kilometers from where the World Mountain was. He chose the opposite direction from which Ipandai left. It was best if he never saw her again because if he met her, she would know that he killed Wu Yu. He even took off stealth sand. He had decided that from now on, Ning Xiaoma would disappear forever. As for the Hanliang Empire's 2 nascent soul state cultivators, sorry, he won't be able to help them. As for Moyu City, with Su Changji there, Yimo was sure that no one dared to touch it. Now, it was safer to use his original face as rarely anyone had seen his face here. A day later, EMO found another half-extreme grade star sand and realized why there were so many people wanting to come in the Truthfall Palace Forbidden Grounds. This material was not only a necessity for setting up long-distance teleportation formations, but was also the perfect material to forge space-related magic artifacts. Just with this block, he would even be able to trade for the pills used by Disaster Transformation State and Truth Realization State cultivators. But even if he didn't get anything, he was happier than ever to be able to get the bitter bamboo. Perhaps he could go search for some more treasure before he went out. The World Mountain had gone, and so had the Black Lightning. The Space Windblades and Space Chaos Flow didn't pose much of a threat to him. When EMO was looking around, he suddenly smelled a faint aroma. It was very unique and made him feel very fresh and comfortable. He even had the feeling that just smelling this increased his power. This was definitely something good, and this aroma spread so far that even his spirit sense couldn't scan where the aroma was coming from. He immediately flew towards where the aroma came from. 2 hours later, he arrived and saw what the thing was. Even with the Golden Page World and bitter bamboo, he felt his heart beating rapidly. It was a colorful lotus, a lotus with 9 colors. 9-color lotus. Although the bitter bamboo was much more precious than the 9-color lotus, the 9-color lotus was something he could use now. Even though he had the 5-color lotus, it didn't mean it could turn into the 9-color lotus. Even if it could, who knew how long it would take? The 9-color lotus could be used to concoct the 9-wind pill. It was a pill that could purify spirit roots and was a legendary itself, just like the lotus. The 9-color lotus was floating in a clear pond full of spirit chi emitted from the flower. People kept coming over due to the aroma, and soon the pond was filled with cultivators. Chapter 1060. Ning Xiaoma knows how to trick girls. Chapter 1060. Ning Xiaoma knows how to trick girls. Although many people wanted to charge up, no one dared to because everyone knew that the first to go up would die. Even EMO didn't dare to go up. The cultivators around the pond became more and more impatient. At this moment, a nascent soul state level 9 suddenly came out and said, "Everyone calm down. Hear me out." He clearly had some reputation as many cultivators calmed down. EMO asked the cultivator next to him quietly, "Who is this guy?" The cultivator looked at EMO in confusion. How did EMO not even know this guy? In the end, he still replied, "He's 8-star Rain Pill Sex Lao Shi, a level 2 pill king." EMO thought, no wonder he was so respected. Cultivators didn't want to offend pill masters the most, especially a level 2 pill king. Lao Shi continued, "The 9-color lotus is about to mature. Everyone knows its properties. I don't need to say it, but there's only one. Even if we fight till the death, only one person can get it. I have a way that everyone can benefit from." He understood what Lao Shi meant. He wanted the 9-color lotus to mature and melt into the spirit pond. "Pill King Lao, hurry up and say it. If it's beneficial to everyone, we will listen to you for sure," some cultivator called. Lao Shi nodded and continued, "It's rather hard for the 9-color lotus to mature. It would take countless years and a special environment. The lotus could mature here, so it clearly has something to do with the pond. If I'm not wrong, this should be a spirit pond. The reason nobody noticed is because most of the spirit chi is supplied to the 9-color lotus. I can tell everyone some very good news. If the 9-color lotus isn't picked out when mature in a spirit pond, it melts into the spirit pond, automatically returning all the spirit chi it absorbed back to the spirit pond. It also returns its medical properties to the spirit pond. If we go into the spirit pond to cultivate, there won't be much difference compared to eating the 9-wind pill." EMO knew that Lao Shi was telling the truth. Another cultivator stood out and said, "I'm a pill master too, and Pill King Lao's words are true. I can vouch for them. With so many masters here, no one could be sure they could get the 9-color lotus." So as soon as Lao Shi said this, everyone fell silent, agreeing to his words. Even if someone got the 9-color lotus, they wouldn't be able to escape. EMO really wanted to take the pond water. Since it could nourish a 9-color lotus, it would be beneficial to his 5-color lotus. He couldn't do anything yet with so many people here, and could only wait till the 9-color lotus matured before going in to take action. As the aroma the lotus emitted grew stronger and stronger, more and more cultivators appeared. After learning the situation, they all stood by the side of the pond. Yemo saw a few cultivators wearing the Dark Ice Sect's uniform and really wanted to go up and talk, but he eventually stopped himself. Soon, a few more figures came. This time, they were the nuns from Clear Dream Mosque. Ling Xiaoshuang was amongst them. He felt her chi had changed. She probably got something good. The Heaven Star Sect's cultivators also came. Ipandai looked around as though searching for someone, but she was soon disappointed. She didn't see Yemo or Wu Yu. Ipandai walked up to Ling Xiaoshuang and asked quietly, "Martial Sister Xiaoshuang, I want to ask you something." Ling Xiaoshuang looked at Ipandai and said, "Martial Sister Pandai, if there's anything just ask me, I'll tell you if I know." Ipandai hesitated before saying, "I want to ask you about Martial Brother Xiaoma." Huh. Ling Xiaoshuang was surprised at Ipandai. She really didn't understand why Ipandai was using such an intimate greeting for Ning Xiaoma. Didn't she want to kill him before? She suddenly thought about her Qinghan martial sisters and subconsciously shivered. Who was Ning Xiaoma? How was he so good at getting girls? She must investigate. If this person was really cultivating some demonic cultivation method that seduced girls, she would get her master to help kill Ning Xiaoma. She remembered that Ipandai was waiting for a reply and said, "I only saw him harassing a female cultivator once and had some impression of him. Martial Sister Pandai, he's definitely not a proper cultivator. I suspect he has some untoward means towards female cultivators. You need to be careful." Ipandai frowned. Ling Xiaoshuang had misunderstood her. She didn't have any feelings for Ning Xiaoma. She just wanted to know who he was, and if he had some unfinished business, she could help him finish. After all, he had died helping her. But Ling Xiaoshuang said this for her own good, so she couldn't really say much and just thanked her before leaving. Ling Xiaoshuang saw this and frowned, beginning to worry more and more. At this moment, another nascent soul state tertiary stage cultivator flew over and saw the 9-color lotus in the middle of the pond. Without hesitation, he just dashed up, wanting to take it. Immediately, the banks of the pond ignited. No one wanted to wait for the 9-color lotus to melt inside. Everyone charged towards it. At this moment, all sorts of magic artifacts clashed. Sword rays, sword chi, flames, ice arrows. Everything. Howls of pain sounded. But these fights only happened around the lotus. If any cultivator neared the lotus, he would immediately be attacked by everyone. In this short time, nearly 100 cultivators died in the battle. Laoshi was trying desperately to get everyone to stop, but once started, it was impossible to contain. Eventually, even Laoshi charged up with red eyes. If he didn't go in, he wouldn't even get the rim of the lotus. Yemo also charged up, but he didn't try take the lotus. He knew he didn't fear anyone one-on-one, but there were too many nascent soul state level 8 and level 9 cultivators. He wasn't able to get it. He just wanted the pond's water. So, he just charged into the pond and kept moving the water into his golden page world. The water decreased, but everyone was in a frenzy for the 9-color lotus. No one noticed this. "It's melting," someone called. The 9-color lotus was gone, and the previously clear pond was 9-colored now. "The water has decreased a lot," someone noticed. Someone was taking the pond water. Almost everyone understood this, and more people joined EMO in becoming a water pump. With this, the pond water depleted rapidly. Some people knew that the 9-color spirit chi wasn't able to be taken away, so they sat above the pond absorbing it. Some people who didn't know sunk into the pond water to cultivate. But soon, everyone realized it was much more effective to cultivate above the pond than in it. The scene quickly fell silent, as though the battle had never occurred. Everyone knew how precious this opportunity was. This was probably the only time in their life they would encounter this. Yemo saw that the 9 colors were gradually disappearing from the pond water and knew it was being used up quickly. He didn't take any more pond water as he had taken more than half of it. This should be enough for the 5-color lotus. Although only a small part of the 9-color lotus was shared by the cultivators, a lot of them still received a significant upgrade to their spirit root. This meant that they could reach higher states in the future. Some cultivators who were attacked in the fight were about to get revenge, but they saw the white light pillars begin to flash. Everyone knew that the forbidden ground was about to close. Chapter 1061. The Anger of Seeing Someone You Know. Chapter 1061. The Anger of Seeing Someone You Know. All the cultivators were teleported out of the Forbidden Grounds and back to Truthfall Palace Level 4. Guillermo saw about 600 go in. With the people who came in later, there were about 1,000 people in all, but he only saw about 300 cultivators come out. The Truthfall Palace Forbidden Grounds wasn't as lethal as Guachifan said, but quite a lot of cultivators still died. But Guillermo also knew that those cultivators who went in were rather high-powered. At the same time, he knew that even if going in had nothing to do with immortal ascension, those who went in would have a much better chance of immortal ascension. Guillermo saw Pandai looking around and didn't dare to stay. He immediately dashed away. Many other cultivators also left quickly. Guillermo flew away a long distance before realizing that the two hollow spirit state cultivators who went in first never seemed to have come out. But this thought just flashed through his mind. It didn't concern him if they came out. He had got what he wanted. After Guillermo left, he wore 9 transformations again. He didn't want to accidentally kill a big sect member and get hunted down. There were much more high-level spirit herbs at level 4 than below. Guillermo collected all he could. He had gotten the bitter bamboo. The next important thing was to gather spirit herb and materials. Guillermo was scared that time was short, so after spending some time at level 4, he came to the entrance to level 5. He more than 1,000 cultivators hesitating here, not sure whether to go up or to stay. Guillermo understood their struggle. Spirit herbs appeared the most at level 5, but the most cultivator deaths also occurred on the staircase to level 5. Regardless, he was going to go up. Just when he walked to the staircase, he heard a howl of pain, and a cultivator who was unable to deal with the pressure on the stairs was crushed into nothingness. Despite this, 10 cultivators still went up. Everyone knew that level 5 was a yardstick. The real good items could only be found in level 5. Guillermo saw that there were 2 nascent soul state and 8 golden core states who went up. Although his spirit sense couldn't scan to the top of the stairway, he heard 5 cries, and before those could even die down, 2 more sounded. 7 of the 10 died already, but the remaining 3 seemed to have reached level 5. Some cultivators who saw this started to leave, but even more people stayed here. Just when Guillermo wanted to up, he saw Gu Wei, who was hesitating. He didn't expect Gu Wei to be able to get here. He was only a golden core state level 8 cultivator and rarely spoke. Guillermo knew that he probably wouldn't be going back to the Hanliang Empire. It was good to let him bring a message to Gu Lian and Yu Shamping. Thinking about this, Guillermo walked to Gu Wei. Gu Wei saw this and was shook. A nascent soul state cultivator was walking towards him, a mere golden core state cultivator. This made him uneasy. Guillermo pretended to take out a jade slip before looking at Gu Wei and asking, "Are you Gu Wei from the Hanliang Empire?" Gu Wei looked at Guillermo anxiously and answered, "Yes, Qianbei. I'm Gu Wei from the Hanliang Empire." Guillermo nodded. "Guillermo, who came with you, died in the Forbidden Grounds and asked me to give you this before he died." Then he gave 3 bottles to Gu Wei. "This is a soul condensation pill. Guillermo said it was for you, asking you to take care of Mou City a little. The other 2 pills are for Yu Shamping and Gulian. Give it to them. By the way, he said that if I found you, I should tell you not to go up anymore." The other 2 bottles contained 2 soul essence pills each. Gu Wei wasn't shocked that Guillermo died, but he was shocked that Guillermo gave him a soul condensation pill before he died. But perhaps Guillermo had realized he was dying and these things were of no use to him. He might as well give them away and get someone to look after his Mou City. Realizing this, Gu Wei took the things and bowed to Guillermo. "Thank you, Qianbei, for helping Yi Qianbei bring his last message. I will remember it. May I ask what your name is, Qianbei?" Guillermo waved his hand. "No need to remember me. My target is Truthfall Palace level 6. Perhaps I have no chance of coming out, so it's lucky that I found you." Then, Guillermo sighed and said, "I'm Fu Rong. I'm very good friends with Guillermo, but Guillermo, sigh." Then, Guillermo waved his hand to Gu Wei and said, "I'm going up. Take care." Then, Guillermo turned to leave and disappeared at the stairs. He was sure that Gu Wei wasn't going to try for level 5 after getting the soul condensation pills. Golden core state cultivators staked their lives to get to level 5 just for a chance to reach nascent soul state. But now that he got what he wanted, Yemo didn't believe that Gu Wei would still risk his life. Yemo was right. Gu Wei left this place quickly and went somewhere to hide. Yemo dashed up the stairs without hesitation, and this encouraged more people to go up. No one noticed Gu Wei leaving at all. Arriving at level 5, Yemo immediately noticed the completely different spirit chi. It was as though someone had set up a spirit gathering formation here. Yemo also saw 2 level 4 Zhouhuan flowers as soon as he came out. There were so many more spirit herbs compared to level 4. Yemo was thinking, won't there be even more at level 6? But Yemo also knew that he spent a lot of time at the Forbidden Grounds before. He needed to be faster or time would be up before he got to the top. Yemo found large amounts of level 5 and even level 6 herbs at level 5 of the Truthfall Palace. There weren't a lot of cultivators who could come up here, so Yemo wasn't going to fight over spirit herbs with people unless he really needed them. He even found 3 purple-back blue carrots here. At the same time, Yemo sighed. Without the Truthfall Palace, it would be really hard for so many high-level spirit herbs to appear in the cultivation realm. Another patch of more than 10 misty lawn appeared before him. It was just a level 5 spirit herb, but Yemo didn't mind having more. There was only a level 5 cow beast guarding them. Just when Yemo wanted to take out the beast and collect the misty lands, 2 nascent soul states were walking over happily. Yemo scanned them with his spirit sense and didn't mind. It was just a man and a woman. But the next moment, Yemo let go off the misty lawn and stared at the 2 with shaking hands. The male cultivator's face was pale, but even if he turned to ash, Yemo would recognize it. It was the young master of the West Flow sect, Jing Yuzhen. He and Luo Ying were hunted. The magical herb sect was annihilated. All because Jing Yuzhen had lusted after Luo Ying's beauty and wanted to force her to marry him. Luo Ying rejected him, and the magical herb sect didn't succumb just because West Flow sect was a 5-star sect. Eventually, the sect leader of the West Flow sect, Jing Kuan, annihilated the sect. If it wasn't due to a special occurrence, he and Luo Ying would have died already. This Jing Yuzhen was the main culprit. How could Yemo not be angry seeing him? What shook Yemo even more was that the woman next to him was a cultivator from the magical herb sect. Strictly speaking, she was his martial uncle. She was Luo Ying's martial sister, Lu Manxiang. Yemo didn't expect the 2 to be so close. Chapter 1062. Reason for Sect Annihilation. Chapter 1062. Reason for Sect Annihilation. It's the misty lawn. There's quite a lot, more than 10 plants. Lu Manxiang and Jing Yuzhen had clearly already seen the spirit herbs. Lu Manxiang saying this was a subtle question, asking Jing Yuzhen if they should take them. Jing Yuzhen looked at Yemo and nodded to Lu Manxiang. Clearly Yemo was only nascent soul state level 4. And that was nothing to him. He was nascent soul state level 5, and Lu Manxiang was nascent soul state level 1. They didn't need to worry about Yemo at all. But clearly, he didn't intend to forcefully take them. He looked at Yemo and asked, "Friend, how about we kill the bull together and split the misty lawn evenly?" A mere level 5 bull didn't need nascent soul state cultivators to fight it together. Even Lu Manxiang could kill it easily. Yemo's clenched fists were pale. Lines of blood appeared in the corners of his eyes. Yemo, who was about to explode, heard these words and calmed down instead. Since he had caught sight of Jing Yuzhen, there was no way he was going to let him go. He had to calm down and stop this guy from escaping. Otherwise, who knows how long it would take him to go to East Black State. Seeing Yemo not talk and just stare at him, Jing Yuzhen frowned. "I want the woman next to you. Give her to Daddy now. As for a trash like you..." Yemo scanned Lu Manxiang and sneered. As expected, before he even finished, Jing Yuzhen exploded. This guy was merely nascent soul state level 4, and he dared to try to take his woman. Jing Yuzhen, who was filled with anger, instantly charged up and attacked. He raised his hand and 6 frosty flying swords were released. Yemo looked and saw it was a set of flying swords. Each one was an extreme grade spirit artifact. The combined power of the swords was on par with a low-grade cultivation artifact. The 6 flying swords sped through the air, forming a semicircle sword veil that completely enveloped Yemo. Lu Manxiang saw this and a sliver of envy flashed across her eyes before she looked coldly at Emo. Jing Yuzhen's power was all based on this set of flying swords. They could also bind enemies, as once they formed a sword veil, the cultivator inside would be trapped. When Jing Yuzhen had completely enveloped Emo with the sword veil, his fury calmed down a little. He even suspected the opponent knew him. Otherwise, how would he know that he would take out his killing move at all cost in anger? If it was some other cultivator, Emo wouldn't lower himself to use such means. But the feud between him and Jing Yuzhen was too great. Before, Jing Yuzhen was only nascent soul state level 1 and was propped up using pills, but it had only been a few decades and he was already nascent soul state level 5. This made Emo a little worried. Anything could happen in the cultivation realm. He, for example, was only an ordinary person before, but now he could instantly kill people of the same cultivation level. He didn't dare to underestimate Jing Yuzhen at all, because he must not let this person escape no matter what. But when Emo saw Jing Yuzhen attack, he shook his head. Jing Yuzhen was indeed propped up with pills. Emo knew that this guy completely relied on this set of flying swords. His own cultivation essence and spirit sense were nothing. Even if Fu Rong was here, Emo believed he would be able to escape. Before the flying sword veil could swoop over, he released Zisu. If it was against someone like Wu Yu, he might use Illusion Cloud Essence Binding Strike, but the difference here was too great. Emo used Illusion Cloud Whirlpool Strike, and the sword veil seemed like a rag that was cut through by thousands of sharp swords and disappeared. With a clank, the 6 flying swords were swept away by the purple sword rays. Even the owner of the flying swords couldn't control them. Jing Yuzhen looked sluggishly at this, and before he could react, a purple ray hacked towards his dantian. A blood arrow shot out as a gash appeared on his body, and a terrified nascent soul was hacked out. As soon as the nascent soul state escaped, it was pulverized by Emo's purple sword rays. Jing Yuzhen looked dazedly at Emo. If it didn't happen right before his eyes, he wouldn't believe that a nascent soul state level 5 couldn't even last 3 moves in front of a nascent soul state level 4. The loss of his nascent soul state meant that he lost all his power. Yu. Jing Yuzhen didn't know what to say. There was no point begging for mercy or threatening. At this moment, he hated Lu Monxiang the most. If it wasn't for this woman, he wouldn't even care about these misty lawn. But now, disaster struck just because of a few mere level 5 spirit herbs. Lu Monxiang didn't know this, but even if she knew, she couldn't care. She looked at Emo in terror. If he destroyed Jing Yuzhen's nascent soul so easily, he would be able to finish her just as easily. She subconsciously wanted to retreat, but saw Emo glare at her coldly. If you dare to move back half a step, I will cut you. Lu Monxiang shivered and didn't dare to retreat at all. Her face was pale as she tried desperately to think a way out of this situation. Emo ignored Lu Monxiang and jeered at Jing Yuzhen. Your power is climbing quickly. When I first saw you, you were only nascent soul state level 1, but now you're nascent soul state level 5. Pity, it's artificially increased by your dad's pills. I really don't get how a trash like you could crawl to the 5th floor. You know me? Jing Yuzhen just realized that this man knew him. So that means he wasn't killing him for the woman and the spirit herbs. Big brother, I'm willing to stay with you. I've long been sick of this, Jing. If Big brother is willing, I'll immediately. Lu Monxiang resisted the fear in her heart and forced a seductive look. She waved her hand and her clothes just fell off a little, showing a large amount of snow-white skin. Jing Yuzhen was a trash person, but seeing his woman trying to seduce another man, he spat out another mouthful of blood. Emo didn't even look at Lu Monxiang and stared at Jing Yuzhen. Jing, my master Luoing never went out. How do you know about her? You're from Magical Herb Sect. Jing Yuzhen stared at Emo in shock. He finally understood why Emo hated him so much and wanted to kill him. Emo still didn't understand why the West Flow sect would annihilate the Magic Herb Sect for his master Luoing. That was sect annihilation. Finally realizing why Emo was going to kill him, Jing Yuzhen pointed at Lu Monxiang hatefully and said, "It's her, this bitch. She came to our sect and told my father that the Magical Herb Sect got a herb cauldron that can let spirit pill masters concoct heaven-grade pills. She told me that Luoing of the sect is extremely beautiful and even brought a painting of her. You're lying. Your father wanted the cauldron of the magical herb sect, and you lusted after martial sister Luoing. What has this got to do with me? In order to survive, I let you abuse me in the West Flow sect just so I could get revenge for the magical herb sect. Today I finally have this chance. Lu Monxiang screamed. Although Yimo wore a mask, Lu Monxiang knew this person was Yimo. She really didn't understand how Yimo was here and how he had become so strong. Haha, I lied? Jing Yuzhen was laughing. He knew he was dead. He said, Lu Monxiang, you said the magical herb sect has a cauldron, but in fact we only got a lid. We built the cauldron ourselves later. For a soul condensation pill, you betrayed your martial sister and your sect. Now you're betraying me too. I've finally seen through who you are. Lu Monxiang didn't let Jing Yuzhen continue speaking and released her flying sword, cutting Jing Yuzhen's head off. Yimo looked coldly at this shameless pair and didn't say anything. After Lu Monxiang killed Jing Yuzhen, she showed a sycophantic smile and said excitedly, Martial brother Yimo, I didn't think you would be alive. This is great. Is martial sister Luoing fine? It was as though she was too excited to speak properly. Chapter 1063. Annihilating Harm from the Cultivation Realm. Chapter 1063. Annihilating Harm from the Cultivation Realm. We're from the same sect. If you like me, then take me. I'm willing. In fact, when we were at the magical herb sect, I had feelings for you. Lu Monxiang's voice got quieter and quieter, and the clothes on her chest seemed to get looser and looser. More and more snow-white skin showed. Yimo looked coldly at her. Comparatively, Jing Yuzhen's words were more trustworthy. Yimo didn't know what sort of person Lu Monxiang was, but they were from the same sect. However, she definitely wasn't some woman who would bear insult to get revenge. It was more believable that Jing Yuzhen said she did things for a soul condensation pill. Seeing Yimo glare at her coldly, Lu Monxiang's tone became even more pitiful, as though she hadn't killed Jing Yuzhen just now. Then, she turned around and bent over saying, Martial brother, I know you hate me. You can beat me. Then, she raised her butt and even brought up her dress, showing pink underwear. Even Yimo's mouth was beginning to dry up. He had to admit that this woman really knew how to use her body without any shame. Suddenly, Yimo looked up at where Lu Monxiang and Jing Yuzhen had come from. There was the sound of clapping. You live up to your reputation indeed. You like to do such things in the middle of the day on the side of the road. I admire you greatly. Yimo's eyes focused and saw the cultivator, who walked over and looked confused. He knew this guy was Yuan Guanan, but what did his words mean? Yuan Guanan was with Wan Cai. Why did he appear here alone? Soon, Yimo realized what Yuan Guanan meant. He probably recognized that he was Ning Xiaoma. Realizing this, Yimo felt a little cold. He used stealth and in 9 transformations just so people couldn't recognize him, but now this Yuan Guanan could recognize him. Didn't that mean that he knew all the faces he had? How did he do it? Yuan Guanan gazed at Lu Monxiang and stared at her, but with interest, as though enjoying the view. Lu Monxiang finally felt embarrassment and stood up but didn't tidy up her clothes. Martial sister, is this guy forcing you? If he is, just tell me and come be a witness with me, Yuan Guanan said with a serious face. Lu Monxiang's face was red, as though she was too embarrassed to say anything. Yimo sneered. If this woman was on Earth, she would have won quite a few Oscars. Yuan Guanan nodded amicably to Lu Monxiang and said to Yimo, Ning Xiaoma, not bad. You went from nascent soul state level 3 to level 4 in such a short time. I think everyone underestimated you. You're not an ordinary cultivator. Then, Yuan Guanan laughed, but Ling Xiaoshuang was right about you. I can understand being lustful and shameless, but to this extent, it's the first time I've heard of it. Perhaps I need to help annihilate a menace from the cultivation realm. Yimo just held Zisu and didn't care about Yuan Guanan's words at all. He didn't believe this Yuan Guanan was noble enough to do something like that. He cared about the most how Yuan Guanan recognized him and how he found him. The reason he took out Zisu was because he wasn't planning on letting Yuan Guanan leave alive. He couldn't expose his identity, and Yuan Guanan knew him. But Emo knew that Yuan Guanan wasn't so easy to kill. It wasn't that Emo didn't think he could kill this man, but Yuan Guanan had a higher status than Tian Alfing. If he killed Yuan Guanan, this would cause more upheaval than killing Tian Alfing. Emo wiped Zisu and said, Yuan, there are no other people here. No need to talk big. There are lots of people wanting to be a bitch, and you're not the only one. You don't need to show your innocence to me. I know you have your purpose for keeping your eyes on me. If there's anything you want to know, I can tell you. But before this, I also have a question that I hope you can answer. Yuan Guanan laughed and said, regardless, you won't live to see it answered. But since you're bringing it up, I do have a few questions for you. You want to ask how I found you, right? Emo said, yes. How did you find me? Because as long as it's someone I've seen once, he will never get away from me no matter what magic artifact he uses, Yuan Guanan said pridefully. Emo frowned. He didn't believe this. Even if Yuan Guanan had a special talent, could he see through stealth sand that even body condensation state cultivators couldn't see through? Seeing Emo frown, Yuan Guanan knew that Emo didn't believe him, but he didn't have to make Emo believe him. He just asked, when everyone else was fighting over the 9-color lotus, you were taking the pond water. I believe you must have some massive dimensional magic artifact, right? Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to collect so much water so rapidly. Emo was shaken. He didn't think he would be exposed so casually. The scene was very messy, and yet Yuan Guanan had been watching him. Clearly, Yuan Guanan had been keeping an eye on him for a long time. This also meant that Yuan Guanan didn't lie. Emo didn't reply. He knew that Yuan Guanan didn't tell him the complete truth either. He just released Zisu and said, don't waste time. If you want to fight, hurry up. Haha, you think you can fight with me after reaching nascent soul state level 4? The insolent are brave indeed. I'll fulfill your wish then and annihilate a harm for the cultivation realm. Yuan Guanan lifted his hand, and a huge octagonal cauldron appeared above his head. This was the first time Emo saw a cultivator use a cauldron. The cauldron started spinning, bringing up a wind wall. But then, another ancient spear appeared in Yuan Guanan's hand. The spear was full of killing intent. Emo knew that countless souls had died to this spear. It had a strong, bloody, and murderous sense. Emo was sure that this spear didn't belong to Yuan Guanan to begin with. Yuan Guanan's spear tore through the air and smashed towards Emo. The blood-killing qi seemed to have frozen the surrounding air. Lu Manxiang subconsciously shivered. She wanted to find an opportunity to escape when Emo fought with this new cultivator because she had seen Emo's power before, killing a nascent soul state level 5 like a chicken. And this new cultivator was also nascent soul state level 5. He must be no match for Emo. But now that they fought, she felt she was wrong. The power of this nascent soul state level 5 was astounding. Even from this distance, she felt like she was getting ripped apart. It seemed Emo might not be a match for this person. In that case, she didn't need to run away now. With their power, the fight would be heavenly shocking. She would find a better opportunity to run. As soon as Yuan Guanan's spear pierced the air, Emo felt the blood in his chest rumble as though he was about to vomit. Before he could gasp at Yuan Guanan's cultivation essence, he felt the space around him slow down. When the spear formed countless spear shadows and locked the space around Emo realized that this move was like his illusion cloud essence binding strike. Although this was far from space lockdown, Emo knew it was beginning to show it. Clearly, Yuan Guanan didn't want to kill him too quickly. Emo sneered. This Yuan Guanan thought of him as an ordinary nascent soul state level 4. Emo hacked out with Zisu, and the purple sword rays broke the cultivation essence wall like paper mesh. Chapter 1064. Prodigies will die too. Chapter 1064. Prodigies will die too. Seeing that Emo broke his binding with just one strike, Yuan Guanan was shocked. Before he could use another move, the countless purple sword rays already swept over. Thud, thud, thud. The octagonal cauldron above his head spun rapidly and dissipated the sword chi. Emo felt a strong repulsive power and took a few steps back. What cauldron was this? Its defensive capabilities were so strong? This was the first time he had encountered a cauldron so powerful. He could tell that the ancient spear was a low-grade cultivation artifact, but this cauldron, he couldn't even tell what level it was. Yuan Guanan was dazed at Yimo. In just a brief moment, he realized that Yimo was no ordinary nascent soul state level 4. If it wasn't for his octagonal cauldron, he would have had the lower hand in that bout. Which sector you from? Yuan Guanan's eyes turned cold. He wasn't as confident and relaxed as he had been before. He didn't believe that Yimo was just a solo cultivator. How could a solo cultivator have such offensive power? He underestimated that kitchen knife before, but now he no longer dared to. If you want to fight, then fight. You talk too much. Yimo didn't want to hear Yuan Guanan talk. This was the Truth Fall Palace level 5, but there were still quite some cultivators here. If someone knew that he killed Yuan Guanan and he wasn't able to kill that person, his situation would be disastrous. So Yimo hacked out with Zissou again. Illusion Cloud Division Strike. Illusion Cloud Formation Kill Strike. Yuan Guanan's cauldron's defensive power was too strong. If he didn't lock it down, it would be very hard for him to kill Yuan Guanan. Luckily, Yuan Guanan's spirit sense and cultivation essence weren't as powerful as his. He could only use the cauldron passively to defend and not attack. Otherwise, Yimo was sure that even if he was more powerful than Yuan Guanan, he wouldn't be able to kill him. That octagonal cauldron was good. Just as Yuan Guanan wanted his dimensional magic artifact, he also wanted the octagonal cauldron. Seeing Yimo attacking without saying anything, Yuan Guanan immediately knew that Yimo also had killing intent towards him. He couldn't care much now. The ancient spear made a buzzing sound and was released with strong killing intent. But this time, it wasn't to bind Yimo's cultivation essence, but to kill him. This time, a rain dragon formed. It roared and descended from the heavens. Die! At this moment, the ancient spear smashed down like an ancient weapon of carnage with the roar of a dragon. The spear hacked open Zissou's sword ray, but before it landed, it swept down with terrifying pressure. The spirit chi on the spear created sonic explosions in the air. The earth around Yimo cracked under the immense pressure. Zissou and the spear clashed. The divided purple sword rays all shattered and dispersed. Rumble. The explosion broke out between Yimo and Yuan Guanan. Yuan Guanan was sent flying by Yimo's powerful cultivation essence, but he didn't escape from Yimo's purple sword rays formation. Although the purple sword rays formation were weakened after that spear attack, they still locked the cauldron down temporarily. Yuan Guanan spat out a mouthful of blood and was very shocked. He had used his full power and was still at a disadvantage. He didn't think that a genius like him would lose to an unknown, minor figure. He really didn't want to accept this fact, but it was right in front of his eyes. Go. He had to go immediately. Who was this Ning Xiaoma? He was too powerful. Yuan Guanan wanted to kill Lu Manxiang, who was trying to retreat, but he knew that losing face was the least important thing right now. Even if word of him losing got out, he had to run first. But how could Yimo let Yuan Guanan go? If Yuan Guanan kept fighting him, he might need more effort to kill him, but since he wanted to run, he was unlucky. Zissou flashed and Illusion Cloud Whirlpool Strike was used. Countless spinning, eddy purple sword rays surrounded Yuan Guanan again. He was very shaken, but no matter how he used the cauldron, it was surrounded by countless seemingly alive sword rays and couldn't break free. No way. Yuan Guanan felt that even body condensation state cultivators couldn't control sword rays that hacked out so accurately. What sword technique was this? But Yuan Guanan knew now wasn't the time to be thinking about it. He took out a rune and it immediately turned into a huge black shield. Yimo's eddy sword ray hit the shield and dissipated, while the shield only became a little paler. Yimo frowned. It was a level 7 defense iron rune. This Yuan Guanan had quite a lot of things. Lu Manxiang saw Yuan Guanan have the lower hand and knew that Yuan Guanan was no match for Yimo. She thought the two would need to fight longer to determining a winner, but it was decided so quickly. She retreated slowly, trying to slip away, but she only went 30 meters before she was killed by a sword ray that suddenly appeared. Even in her death, she didn't believe that Yimo was this cruel. She offered to give her body to him, Yet he was still willing to kill a woman as pretty as her. Yuan Guanan saw that Yimo could even spare the effort to kill Lu Monxiang while fighting with him and felt even more concerned. He turned to run immediately, giving up the octagonal cauldron. He regretted coming to find Yimo by himself. Just at this moment, he felt he was ambushed by something. Before he could figure it out, Yimo's purple sword rays came again. With a crack, the level 7 defense rune broke. Yimo didn't want to waste too much time, and he had to kill him with certainty, so he called Shadowless. After Yimo burned the bodies, he picked up the storage rings. The cow beast was nowhere to be seen. Clearly he knew that he was no match for the cultivators here. Yimo picked up the misty lands and put the storage ring as well as the octagonal cauldron into the golden page world before leaving immediately. Even though he was 10,000 kilometers away, he still didn't dare to look at the storage ring he took from Yuan Guanan. This was too serious. He didn't want anyone to notice it. If they did, he would be done for. Although Yimo really didn't want to mess with these 9-star sect disciples, if they came up to him, he wasn't going to beg for mercy. When Sai frowned, looking at the direction Yuan Guanan left. When he left, he told her to wait for 15 minutes. But now it had been 6 hours and he still wasn't back. She was getting impatient and took out a messenger flying sword. But as soon as she released it, it burned up. When Sai was shaken, there were only 2 possible reasons for this. One was Yuan Guanan was too far and the messenger flying sword couldn't reach him. The other was that Yuan Guanan had died. Yuan Guanan had only been gone for 6 hours. He couldn't be too far away. The only possibility was that he had died. Thinking about this, when Sai began to worry. Yuan Guanan was the most prominent disciple in the young generation of Infinity Sect. He could quite possibly have become the future Infinity Sect leader. If he died here, the Infinity Sect would go crazy. The Truth Fall Palace was dangerous. But if Yuan Guanan lived through the Forbidden Grounds, how could he die here? Other than the few hollow spirit state cultivators, there was barely anyone who could kill Yuan Guanan. Plus, who would dare to kill him? Chapter 1065. Smart Ugly Woman. Chapter 1065. Smart Ugly Woman. Although there were a lot of spirit herbs on level 5, Yimo didn't stay here because he killed Yuan Guanan. He quickly went to the level 6 stairway. Even though this level of carefulness was extra, he still chose to do this as he had an extreme sense of discomfort ever since he killed Yuan Guanan, but he couldn't tell what it was. Yimo was very careful. He arrived at the stairway and carefully scanned it with his spirit sense and saw there were no cultivators before he went up the stairway. Yimo thought that it would just be a little bit harder than level 5, but wouldn't be very hard for him, but he was only halfway up when he felt it was hard to breathe. It was as though he would be pushed back at any time. Yimo was shocked because he knew he couldn't turn back at this moment no matter what. If he turned back, there would never be Yimo in this world again. He would be crushed to nothingness. The reason Truth Fall Palace lost so many cultivators was because once you got on the stairs, you couldn't turn back. If you turned back, you would die for sure. Of course, if you couldn't handle the pressure, you would end up dead as well. From level 1 to level 3, Yimo got up without using cultivation essence. As for level 4, he was passed up by the Forbidden Grounds. For level 5, he used some cultivation essence, but it wasn't too hard. He didn't expect level 6 would be this difficult to ascend to. With every step, Yimo could feel an extremely powerful pressure. Not only was his body tortured, but so was his mental state. No wonder there were so few cultivators at level 6. Yimo had to use his spirit sense to defend against the mental pressure. Ordinary cultivators wouldn't be able to defend against such powerful spirit pressure, even if they had powerful cultivation essence. Even though Yimo's spirit sense was around nascent soul state level 9, he was beginning to be unable to bear it. At this moment, he could still defend with his cultivation essence against the physical pressure, but the mental pressure was almost making him spit blood. However, that pressure was stuck at his chest as though waiting to explode once he couldn't take it anymore. Yimo was shocked at this level of danger. He didn't have any other way but to defend against it with all his power. Yimo saw that about 13 steps ahead, there was another cultivator struggling. Yimo finally found some comfort. After all, he wasn't the only one struggling here. But Yemo counted about 200 more stairs. He didn't know how to reach level 6. He estimated that he wouldn't be able to last more than 50 stairs before being crushed to death. He had overestimated himself. Yemo thought it was no wonder rarely anyone got to level 7. Just level 6 was already this unbearable. Suddenly, the cultivator ahead howled, and afterwards, the figure became faster and immediately disappeared in front of him. The female cultivator said, "It's because I realized on the 481st stair that if you want to enter the Truthfall Palace level 6, other than using your spirit sense to defend against the pressure and spit out the extra blood, you can also use your cultivation essence to sever the pressure and spit out the blood. With your nascent soul state level 4 power, clearly you can't do that with cultivation essence, so you could have only used spirit sense." Yemo heard her analysis and was dazed. He made it up, but he never bothered to think about how he did it. This female cultivator not only made it up, but also concluded the method used. She was this smart? This was the first time he had met a female cultivator so smart. Wait, did she stay here just to tell him she was smart? "I'm not staying here to tell you I'm very smart. I have some other business with you." The female cultivator seemed to know what he was thinking and said. Yemo saw that the female cultivator even knew what he was thinking, so he just didn't talk at all. The female cultivator wasn't unhappy because of this and said, "This isn't a good place to talk. Come with me." Then, she just got on her flying sword and left. Even though she was nascent soul state level 9, Yemo wasn't afraid of her and chased after her. 15 minutes later, they came to a deserted place. Then she told Yemo, "I came here to save your life and make a deal with you." Yemo frowned. How did he need her to save him? The female cultivator wasn't surprised at Yemo's frown and said straight up, "Because you killed the core disciple of a 9-star sect. Other than me, no one here can save you. If I'm not wrong, the person you killed was Yuan Guanan." Yemo was greatly shocked. He was sure that no one other him knew about Yuan Guanan's death. How did she know? Was she hiding on the side and watching? If that was the case, he couldn't let her live. The female cultivator saw Yemo's expression and shook her head. "It's useless even if you kill me. As soon as you leave, people would still find out you killed the 9-star sect's core disciple. Plus, would you be able to kill me?" Chapter 1066, Soul Mark. Chapter 1066, Soul Mark. Yemo calmed down and found that ever since he met this female cultivator, she had been the one dominating the conversation. Yuan Guanan was a mere nascent soul state level 5. He's only ranked about 200 on the nascent soul state trial tablet. "It's no wonder you can kill him since you can come to level 6, the female cultivator said calmly. "How do you know I killed Yuan Guanan?" Yemo asked. There was no point hiding it anymore. He had been recognized by Yuan Guanan before, even though he chased a few faces. Yemo no longer had his original confidence in his stealth. The female cultivator said slowly, "Most core disciples of 8-star and 9-star sects have a soul mark. Anyone who kills these core disciples have the soul mark transferred to them. It won't disappear for a few years, and cultivators above body condensation state are able to see it. You have one on you that's very clear. Clearly, you killed a 9-star sect core disciple not long ago. There aren't a lot of those 9-star sect disciples who can come to level 5. Yuan Guanan is one of those people who look gentlemanly on the outside but is acutely a vengeful spirit. If he wants to kill someone, he wouldn't get help. He would try to kill that person secretly. I think you must have offended him and he came to kill you, but you ended up killing him instead." Hearing this, Yemo was very shocked. He couldn't help but to admire this woman's mind. She was too smart. It was as though she had seen what happened with her own eyes. But Yemo didn't show this on his face. He didn't deny nor accept. "Since you say that those at body condensation state or above can see the mark, how can you see it?" The female cultivator seemed to know Yemo would ask this and smiled before taking out a mirror and throwing it to Yemo. "Because I have this. It's called Extreme Mirror. It can see souls that neither the eye nor the spirit sense can see. It can also see through all mask magic artifacts." Yemo took the mirror and shined at it himself casually. He was immediately shocked. He not only saw a faint shadow on his back, but also saw his real face. Emo didn't know if the mirror could see through stealth sand, but he lost more confidence in stealth mask magic artifacts, especially that ghost-like mark. He didn't notice it with spirit sense at all. A 9-star sect was indeed powerful. You can help me remove it? Emo asked without giving the mirror back. He calmed down instead of worrying. The female cultivator looked at Emo with approval and said, I don't have a way to remove it, but I can help you cover it. Only truth realization states would be able to see through it. Those below truth realization state won't be able to tell for sure. Emo shook his head. If truth realization states could see through it, there was no point asking her to hide it. Who knew if there would be truth realization states when the Truthfall Palace's time ended? When he killed Tion Alfing, there were truth realization state cultivators going to South P City. Who knew what they would do for Yuan Guanan? Emo wanted to try to burn the soul mark away with his heaven flame, but he couldn't try in front of her. He thought for a while before asking, can this mark only be marked on nascent soul state cultivators, but not golden core state cultivators? You're right, this soul mark can only mark cultivators with an essence spirit. Golden core state cultivators don't have a nascent soul, so they have no essence spirit. Then, the female cultivator paused before looking at Emo and smiling. It seems you're quite bold. You probably killed Tion Alfing as well, right? The Lightning Cloud sect is still not over their wrath, and now you challenge the Infinity sect? It's a miracle you could live until now. Emo was speechless. This woman was too smart. He just asked a casual question, and she guessed that he killed Tion Alfing, but Emo didn't bother arguing. Killing two didn't make his situation that much worse. Seeing Emo fall silent, the female cultivator didn't keep stabbing Emo with words. She said, you were able to come up to level 6. Meaning that you have a way to sever the mental pressure. My request is simple. I have this method as well, but I know that I won't be able to get to level 7 myself. I need your help. The payment is that I can help you hide the soul mark. Emo fell silent for a while and said, okay, but I can't stay with you. 5 days later, let's meet at the stairway to level 7. But I need to borrow your mirror for a few days. I might not need you to help me hide the soul mark. I just need you to help me get an identity after I get out. The female cultivator looked at Emo in shock and said after a while, you want to remove it yourself? That's impossible, but if you want an identity, that's very easy. I can do it for you at any time. Okay, we'll do that. Emo agreed without hesitation. The female cultivator said, I'm Jingingli, remember it? I'm Emo. Emo didn't need to hide his real name. Then, Emo seemed to have remembered something. I know 9-star sect Abstruse Sound sect has a Jingingming. What's the relationship between you and her? Jingingming was ranked 4th in the South P State 10 Beauties. Jingingli sneered. You're quite the player, but I think you shouldn't think about Jingingming looking at you. Emo finally felt her emotions now. She had been very calm ever since meeting him, but Emo could clearly feel her sliver of anger and hatred upon hearing the name Jingingming. See you 5 days later. Emo no longer any intention of talking with her and disappeared on Zisu. Seeing this, Jingingli left in another direction. Although her main target was Truthfall Palace level 7, level 6 had a lot of good stuff too. She would collect what she needed in these 5 days. After Emo left Jingingli, he found a place to enter the Golden Page world. The first thing he did was to wear stealth sand and try it with the extreme mirror. It was indeed much higher level than the 9 transformations, but there were still signs. If he didn't look carefully, it would be hard to see through. This mirror was obviously no ordinary thing, but Jingingli was willing to lend it to someone she didn't even know. From this, it was obvious that Truthfall Palace level 7 was really important to her. Emo put away the extreme mirror and used his spirit sense to his fullest capability. He checked around his body very carefully again and again. He had to give the mirror back eventually, but if he couldn't find the soul mark and it remained planted on him, what would he do? After tens of times, he finally found a faint shadow behind his back. That was probably the soul mark. Emo released the mist lotus heart fire, and under the scorching heat of the heaven, it seemed to be dimming, but not very fast. Emo cursed. What was this? Even the heaven flame couldn't burn it. So he took out the purple flower fire and the snow essence fire. Under the attack of 3 rare flames, that shadow finally screamed and disappeared. Emo took the extreme mirror and looked at himself again. There was no longer the shadow of the soul mark. Finally, he breathed easy. This Jing Ingli really helped him. If it wasn't for her, as soon as he went out, he would be killed by body condensation state cultivators without even knowing why. Emo felt much more comfortable without the soul mark, and the discomfort after killing Yuan Guanan disappeared. Emo opened up the storage rings in his joy. There were large amounts of spirit herbs and ores, clearly all picked up in the Truthfall Palace, but now they were his. When Emo opened Yuan Guanan's other storage ring, he was shocked to find it was a spirit beast ring. He broke through the restriction easily and found that there was a cute fox inside. Snow fur fox? Emo blurted out. Was this the snow fox he saw in the Nei mountain ranges? How did it come here and become a level 5 spirit beast? Chapter 1067. Madman? Chapter 1067. Madman. The snow fur fox was more specifically a spirit-seeking fox. It was a type of spirit-seeking beast. This fox could easily find the source of spirit items and was very sensitive to spirit items and spirit chi. However, this snow fur fox just looked at Emo with terror, making him unable to judge if this fox was the same one he saw in the Nei snow mountains. Emo casually put it on the ground and said, "Go play yourself, but don't touch the spirit herbs, otherwise I will kill you." He believed that a level 5 spirit beast would be able to understand his words. That snow fur fox nodded indeed, but hesitated and didn't leave. Emo picked it up again and searched the body with his spirit sense. It was a level 5 spirit beast, but it didn't have any offensive capabilities. Its only ability was to find spirit items. Soon, Emo found a restriction on the snow fur fox. Yuan Guanan probably put it there. Emo was a level 5 formation master, and it didn't take him any trouble to remove the restriction. The snow fox used its spirit sense to joyfully express gratitude to Emo and immediately ran off. The Golden Page world was much more comfortable than staying inside a spirit beast ring. This new owner let it roam free and removed its restriction. How could it not thank Emo? That fox immediately ran to the bitter bamboo and stared at it. Its eyes were even about to bulge out. Clearly, it also knew how extraordinary this bitter bamboo was. It carefully walked to the bitter bamboo and sat down, closing its eyes as though feeling something. Emo ignored the snow fox. He realized why Yuan Guanan could find him now. He was sure it was because of this snow fur fox. It was very sensitive to not only spirit chi but also people's scent and cultivation essence waves. If the fox saw a person once, it would be able to discern that person no matter what sort of disguise that person had. Plus, when he used the mask magic artifact, he didn't use the 3 birth chant to intentionally hide his chi. Thinking about this, Emo used his spirit sense to ask the fox. The fox was a level 5 spirit beast, but its intelligence was still low. It could only express some simple emotions. When Emo asked if it came from Nei snow mountains, it was completely lost and didn't know what was going on. Emo waved his hand for the fox to leave. Since he figured out how Yuan Guanan recognized him, he didn't need to worry anymore. He casually opened a storage ring and found there were large amounts of spirit herbs and ores. The spirit herbs Yuan Guanan collected were more than the combined amount of Emo and the other people. One could see how much of a help the snow fox was. What made Emo happy was that he found a seasoned wheat and tiger blood chi in the storage ring. With one being here, Emo easily correlated the other one to be with Wansai, but he was fine with it. Both spirit herbs were the main ingredients for the Hollow Meridian pill. If he could get another hollow seed fruit, then he would be able to concoct the Hollow Meridian pills immediately. To Emo, although he was only nascent soul state level 4, he still needed to prepare for the Hollow Meridian pills. He couldn't wait till he reached nascent soul state level 9 and went to go find the materials for the pill. He needed to cultivate faster and faster. He collected the spirit herbs and materials and planted them in the Golden Page world. Then, Emo picked up that octagonal cauldron. As for the ancient spear, Emo ignored it. He didn't like this magic artifact, and he couldn't use it anyways. he would find an opportunity to sell it. Yuan Guanan clearly didn't spirit control that octagonal cauldron. He had only left a spirit sense mark. Yimo's spirit sense invaded that cauldron and immediately felt the spirit sense mark Yuan Guanan had left behind. What shocked Yimo was that the spirit sense mark hadn't been left for long, meaning that he had recently acquired this cauldron. Yimo felt that this spirit sense mark was no longer than a month old, meaning that he got this cauldron in the Truth Fall Palace Forbidden Grounds. This guy was quite lucky. Yimo felt this cauldron was not ordinary, at least on par with the 9-color lotus in terms of value. Yimo immediately removed Yuan Guanan's spirit sense mark and started to spirit control this cauldron. He spent about 2 days and only managed to spirit control the first level of restrictions. He didn't even know how many levels of restrictions this cauldron had. Was it like the Shinnon cauldron as well? Although he could freely use the Shinnon cauldron, Yimo felt that he didn't completely control it. But no matter how he spirit controlled it, he didn't have any idea. But 2 days later, Yimo felt that his control of this cauldron was greater than Yuan Guana. After all, he spirit controlled the first level of restriction when Yuan Guanan only made a spirit sense mark. On the 3rd day, Yimo didn't keep staying in the Golden Page world and walked around, finding spirit herbs everywhere. In the following 2 days, Yimo found tens of level 6 spirit herbs and a few level 7 spirit herbs. He collected more than 10 beast cores, but most were level 6. As for level 7 spirit beasts, Yimo would walk away immediately if he encountered them. As long as he didn't piss off level 7 spirit beast, usually they wouldn't keep chasing him. At the same time, there weren't a lot of level 7 spirit beasts at level 6 of Truth Fall Palace. On the 5th day, Yimo collected spirit herbs while searching for Jing Ingli at the staircase. But before he even got there, he felt a spirit chi rustle and he saw Jing Ingli with messy hair charging over at him. Jing Ingli saw Yimo and didn't seem joyful. She said desperately to Yimo, "Hurry up and run to level 7. There's a level 7 lightning leopard chasing behind me." Lightning leopard? Yimo was shook. Even a peak level 6 lightning leopard was near Hollow Spirit State primary stage cultivator's level, much less one at level 7. Usually, cultivators were scared of lightning leopards the most as they kept spewing lightning like a small, endless divine damnation. But Yimo wasn't afraid of it. He wasn't scared of lightning-style beasts or cultivators at all. Hurry up and run. Jing Ingli saw that Yimo didn't go and threw out a few formation discs on the ground instead and continued, "Do you think your level 3 defense formation discs can stop the lightning leopard? Stop dreaming. We're out of time." Suddenly, a purple lightning bolt came to Yimo and Jing Ingli. Yimo ignored Jing Ingli and released Zisu. Countless purple sword rays flew out. Yimo said, "My armor was broken. This lightning leopard will give me a new armor." A good forgery master would be able to make the level 6 peak lightning leopard skin into a low-grade cultivation artifact, and it would be very strong, much less this level 7 primary stage. Even a middle-grade cultivation artifact wouldn't be impossible to craft. Madman! Jing Ingli cursed and could only release her magic artifact. At this moment, she finally realized why this guy dared to kill Yuan Guanan after killing Tian Alfeng. This guy was an unreasonable madman. A level 7 primary stage spirit beast, this was equivalent to Hollow Spirit State primary stage. Yet this nascent soul state level 4 guy was talking about some armor and excitement. If it was some other level 7 spirit beast, Yimo would have already ran. But the lightning beast he didn't fear, since its main offensive ability was lightning strikes and lightning balls. The lightning leopard came over and roared, spitting out a few lightning balls. The space around here shook violently. Yimo even felt that his Zisu was about to be struck away from his hand. His countless purple sword rays immediately dissipated. Yimo was shook. He finally realized the power of the level 7 spirit beast. He had the complete lower hand before the fight even begun. If he didn't attack first, he might not even be able to retaliate. Chapter 1068. Crazy Battle. Chapter 1068. Crazy Battle. Not only so, the lightning ball that came over locked the space around Yimo, slowing him down. Now Yimo realized that even if he wasn't scared of lightning, A level 7 spirit beast wasn't something he could stop. Luckily, Emo had the octagonal cauldron which he released. The cauldron immediately started spinning around Emo, covering him with a powerful ray. Thud, 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 the lightning balls struck the cauldron and lighting splashed everywhere. Although the cauldron blocked a few lightning balls, Emo spat a few mouthfuls of blood after the volatile cultivation essence inside the lightning ball made impact. Jingli was shocked. She didn't think Emo by himself was enough to block the furious strike of a lightning leopard. She wouldn't have been able to withstand that. But even just after that, this guy was heavily injured. Clearly, he overestimated himself. But that octagonal cauldron of his was quite a treasure. Obviously, Emo couldn't completely spirit control it. Otherwise, he might really be able to deal with this lightning leopard. Seeing that his lightning orbs were stopped by a nascent soul state level 4 insect, the leopard roared thunderously as it spat out tins of lightning arcs. Emo breathed easy. There were tins of lightning arcs, but they didn't pose as much threat as the lightning orbs. He quickly ate a few recovery pills and released Zisu again. Illusion Cloud Division Strike. Illusion Cloud Exert will strike. Illusion Cloud Formation Kill Strike. Emo hacked out 3 strikes in such a short time, and countless purple sword rays spewed forth again. The purple sword rays seemed to be alive and formed waves of formation flags that trapped the spirit beast. Seeing this, Jingli dazed. There was actually such a magnificent sword technique and such terrifying sword ray controlling means. What sword technique was this? But why didn't he use such powerful sword rays to block the lightning arcs but to attack the lightning leopard instead? Although Jingli didn't know why Emo did this, she knew she couldn't keep watching. She howled again, and a white, jade-like flute appeared in her hands. With a wave of her hand, that flute was released, blazing a trail like a comet as it struck towards the lightning leopard. Emo noticed this flute. He felt it was at least a low-grade cultivation artifact. Before it even reached the lightning leopard, it made a sharp sound. Even though it wasn't targeted at Emo felt his cultivation essence rustle about, and his spirit sense become chaotic. Such a powerful sound tsunami. Even though it wasn't targeted at Emo felt so bad. The effect on the lightning leopard targeted by the flute could be imagined. The lightning leopard was immediately affected by it. Its eyes bulged and turned red as it roared. Countless lightning arcs struck towards Emo and Jingli. Jingli was struck by a few lightning arcs and spat blood as she flew out. She looked at the lightning arcs attacking Emo and saw there were more than she had been hit with. She sighed immediately. Emo was dead for sure. She was hoping for him to help her with the stairs, but now it seemed she could only find a way herself. Just when Jingli wanted to run off herself, she heard Emo howl. At the same time, he reached out with his hand and started weaving hand signs. What shook Jingli was that the lightning arcs struck Emo and only made his armor splinter more. Emo himself only received minor injuries, but she felt Emo's power grow. At this moment, she finally felt she couldn't understand this Emo anymore. He was not only unafraid of the lightning arcs, but each time he was attacked his power grew. This was too unfathomable. But she knew that she shouldn't be thinking about that now. She was beginning to understand. No wonder Emo wasn't afraid of the lightning leopard. He could ignore the lightning arc attacks. With his octagonal cauldron, he might really be able to beat the lightning leopard. Understanding this, Jingli didn't try to run anymore. She relished her white flute and smashed at the lightning leopard with her full power. She also put up a round shield in front of her. In her eyes, Emo had the upper hand. But Emo was unable to speak of his trouble. Each lightning arc was no weaker than the black lightning on the World Mountain. Luckily, he already had experience defending against this in the World Mountain, or he wouldn't even be able to last the second round. No wonder Jingli was so scared of this guy. It could indeed easily kill Jingli. If he didn't have the cauldron, he would run as far as he could, but with the cauldron he felt he still had chance for retaliation. A few more lightning orbs struck the cauldron, and Emo spat more blood. But his illusion cloud formation kill strike was becoming effective. There were more and more purple sword rays trapping the lightning leopard. The leopard could only roar as the lightning arcs he used were getting weaker and weaker. When Jingli released the flute again, The leopard shivered as though he was very uncomfortable. Then, it suddenly howled and spat out tins of lightning orbs. Even Yemo's skin had goosebumps when he was faced with this. The purple sword rays were immediately broken and turned into fireworks as they dissipated rapidly. The trap formation Yemo had formed with his sword rays became messy. Even Yemo couldn't control the sword rays anymore. More than 10 lightning orbs were heading towards him. He was spitting blood like crazy even when there weren't that much lightning orbs, but now he was sure he would get injured even more heavily. Yemo quickly took back Zissou and gathered all his cultivation essence as he hacked out. Zissou turned into a purple ray that was 10 meters long in his hand. Thud, thud, thud. Zissou and a few lightning orbs clashed together, making a heavy sound. Lightning orbs and purple rays scattered everywhere. The lightning orbs that weren't blocked by Zissou struck the cauldron again. Yemo spat 2 more mouthfuls of blood, and his face became pale. Yemo was sure that he had never faced such a hideous battle where the difference in power was this great. Yemo's face became pale with the loss of blood. However, Yemo rejoiced as the power of the lightning orb was clearly not as powerful as before. This meant that the leopard was either injured or at least had greatly depleted of energy. Yemo used illusion cloud formation kill strike again and signaled Jingli to keep attacking the beast. They were going to stall the leopard to death if they had to. Jingli saw Yemo spitting blood again and couldn't help being amazed at this guy's tenacity. Usually, a cultivator would be looking to run if they were this badly beaten. But for Yemo, the paler his face was, the more intense his battle intent. Jingli was speechless that Yemo used the sword rays to trap the leopard again. It was already proven to not work, but it seemed Yemo didn't have any other method. Jingli released the flute, planning to ambush the leopard. The flute emitted a sharp shriek. What surprised Jingli was that Yemo didn't keep using his kitchen knife to attack. Instead, he kept spraying out formation flags. This guy knew formations too? Jingli looked at Yemo in shock. Yemo was younger than 100 years old. What formation could he set up in a rush? It would be at most level 3. Fighting a level 7 beast with a level 3 formation, Jingli had to admit Yemo was crazy. Yemo's purple sword ray formation collapsed under the lightning orb attack again, and Yemo's cauldron was struck once more. Yemo also spat out more blood, and his face turned paler. Chapter 1069. Black Lightning Arc. Chapter 1069. Black Lightning Arc. Jingli saw Yemo was fighting with his life and shook her head speechlessly. She didn't choose to escape first. She believed that she would still have an opportunity to escape once Yemo was killed. This time, Jingli didn't hold back. She shot a few sound arrows with her flute. The sound arrows seemed to have materialized and even turned into extremely fast white mist. It pierced the sword ray formation that was just crushed by the lightning leopard and hit it. The lightning leopard was dazed briefly, and in this time, Yemo used the illusion cloud formation kill strike right away. He threw out the formation flags even faster. The lightning leopard wasn't as fierce as before, but Jingli knew that even if the lightning leopard stood still and let them attack it, they wouldn't be able to kill it quickly. She really didn't understand why Yemo had to kill this lightning leopard. If they ran away this time, Jingli was sure that the lightning leopard wouldn't keep hunting. But she knew that Yemo wasn't going to leave like this after paying such a price. With the flute attack, this lightning leopard took nearly 8 minutes before hacking open Yemo's sword ray formation. But this time, Yemo didn't keep using the purple sword rays to trap the lightning leopard. He even took back the octagonal cauldron. Just when Jingli still dazed, Yemo suddenly said to her, "Retreat." Jingli heard this and immediately retreated. She thought Yemo was planning to escape and was planning to mock him. But before she could talk, Yemo threw out a few more formation flags as well as countless spirit stones. Suddenly, a formation appeared, trapping the lightning leopard. The leopard immediately realized that it was trapped and got very desperate. It started charging around everywhere trying to break free, but the formation seemed very sturdy. The lightning leopard spent a long time and wasn't able to break free. In its desperation, it started spitting lightning orbs again, trying to break free. The lightning orbs struck the trap formation and had great effect, but every time one broke the trap formation a little, Emo would repair it with a few formation flags. Seeing this, Jing Ingli looked at Emo in shock and said in disbelief, "You've set up such a level 5 trap formation in such a short time. You're a level 5 formation Great Master?" Then, she felt she was speaking the obvious. If Emo wasn't a level 5 formation Great Master, how could he set up a level 5 formation? She sighed before Emo could reply. A level 5 formation Great Master under 100 years of age. After a long while, she sighed. I thought there were people smarter or more talented than me, but they were hard to encounter. But there really are such geniuses in the cultivation realm. A level 5 formation Great Master before 100 years. You're probably only about 30 to 40, right? Emo didn't answer. He didn't want to think about such pointless questions. If she knew that formations were just a side skill for him and his main skill, pill concoction, was level 4 pill king level, what would she be like? If she knew he was cultivating 8 elements at the same time, would she commit suicide? Another 15 minutes later, the lightning leopard was clearly out of energy. But Emo didn't repair the formation anymore. He raised his hand and threw 2 lightning arcs inside. You're a lightning element cultivator too? Jing Ingli was dazed again. Lightning element cultivators were very rare, and they were the strongest in terms of battle power. She didn't understand that since Emo was a lightning element cultivator, why did he only use the lightning arc now? Why didn't he use it before? But even Emo was surprised with himself. He saw that the lightning he used was black. Your lightning is black? Jing Ingli also noticed this. After his initial shock, Emo immediately realized that after he devoured the World Mountain's black lightning source, his lightning's color must have changed. Emo nodded. Although I'm not a lightning element cultivator, I also cultivate lightning style. You just used the Lightning Cloud Sect's 11 lightning swords, but it's different. I suggest you don't use this everywhere, or there could be really serious consequences, Jing Ingli reminded him. At this moment, Emo appeared more and more mysterious in her eyes. He wasn't a pure element cultivator, but his speed was extremely fast, and he was a very powerful fighter too. She said before that even if Emo wanted to kill her, he wouldn't be able to. Now, she didn't dare to think that. If Emo fought with her, just that sword ray formation was already hard enough for her to break. She couldn't compare with the lightning leopard. If she was trapped and Emo used that black lightning arc, she would be killed if she couldn't run away. Plus, this nascent soul state level 4 was a formation Great Master. If he got stronger, how could he fear a 9-star sect? Emo wasn't going to use this in front of others even without Jing Ingli's reminder. The reason he used this now was because it did the least harm to the lightning leopard's skin. Jing Ingli was smart and knew why Emo used the 11 lightning swords. She also helped Emo attack with her flute. If Jing Ingli wasn't here, Emo would think of Shadowless for help, but now that she was here he didn't need to call out Shadowless. Who knew if they would fight in the future? Little did Emo know that if he didn't fight with the lightning leopard and he had conflict with Jing Ingli, they might really fight. But because Jing Ingli saw this battle, she wouldn't fight with Emo, at least not here. The level 7 lightning leopard couldn't even self-destruct its beast core and could only howl in pain before its death. Seeing that Emo paid the price of heavy injury to kill the level 7 lightning leopard, she was very speechless. If she didn't see it with her own eyes, she would never believe a nascent soul state level 4 could kill a level 7 lightning leopard. Emo put away the formation flags and looked at the lightning leopard in joy. This was a level 7 lightning leopard. Emo could see a very good quality low-grade or even middle-grade cultivation artifact. He was injured, but it was worth it. When I saw this lightning leopard, it was fighting with another level 7 one-horned tiger. I wanted to wait until they were both injured, but the tiger ran off. The lightning leopard found me and vented its anger on me. I could only run. Luckily I used you. Jing Ingli saw Emo collect the lightning leopard's materials with great expertise and sighed. Emo heard this and stopped his actions before asking in surprise, "You're saying before the lightning leopard fought with us, it had already fought with another level 7 beast for a long while?" Jing Ingli nodded. Yes. Otherwise, I suppose that even if you used your formation and the purple sword rays, you might not be able to kill this lightning leopard. Yimo fell silent. He knew Jing Yingli was right. If the lightning leopard wasn't too exhausted from the fight before, his only option would be to run. His confidence had been inflated too much when he kept killing genius cultivators above his level. Yimo felt a sense of vigilance. If this continued, he would eventually pay a heavy price. Oh, by the way, there's another level 7 hollow seed fruit there. Now that the lightning leopard is gone, let's go pick it. Jingli saw Yimo fall silent and immediately remembered why she went to see the two beasts fight. Okay. Yimo collected the skin and tendons before giving Jing Yingli the beast core. This is for you. Jing Yingli quickly rejected. You almost single-handedly killed the lightning leopard. The beast core is the most valuable part of it. I can't take it. Yimo smiled. Without you, I wouldn't have been able to kill the lightning leopard. Plus, I only need the skin to make a set of armor. As for other things, they're precious, but I don't mind. And thanks for saving my life. You can have the extreme mirror back. Jingli was very smart, and she immediately realized that Yimo meant he already removed his soul mark. She casually shined the mirror at Yimo and saw there was no more shadow on Yimo's back. She was immediately shocked. You removed the soul mark yourself? How did you do it? Yimo smiled. He wasn't going to tell her he had the heaven flame. Chapter 1070, Pill City. Chapter 1070, Pill City. Jing Yingli smiled awkwardly. She felt she was impolite. How could he tell his trump card of removing the soul mark to her? But Jing Yingli felt this Yimo was not ordinary. She had seen many prodigal cultivators and felt she herself was a prodigy amongst prodigies, but never had a cultivator given her a feeling of immeasurable depth like Yimo. Jing Yingli took Yimo back to a very distant place, and Yimo saw a small hollow seed fruit tree. Yimo could there was about 20 hollow seed fruits. They were like golden specks decorating the tree. It was beautiful. Yimo knew that once the hollow seed fruit matured, it was yellow on the outside and red on the inside. It was not only a level 7 spirit fruit, but it was also very delicious. Although Yimo never had it, it was clearly explained in the thing. But if that person wasn't crazy, he wouldn't eat the hollow seed fruit like a normal fruit. It was something that couldn't be bought even with tens of millions of spirit stones. Why would someone eat it extravagantly like a fruit? But Yimo really had this idea. He wanted to plant this tree inside his golden page world and use it as Yimo's snack fruit. There are about 20 hollow seed fruits. We'll take 10 each. What do you think? Jing Yingli wouldn't ask this before the battle, but now she needed to do so. Yimo nodded. That's great. You pick first. I'll take the rest. Okay. Jing Yingli quickly flew up and picked 10 fruit. Yimo just wanted to pick his when his spirit sense noticed a cultivator flying over here rapidly. Yimo looked at the cultivator's expression and knew he wanted the hollow seed fruit too. Yimo sneered and released his flying sword before pulling the entire fruit tree up from the roots. Wait. A voice reached Yimo and Jing Yingli's ears. Yimo acted as though he didn't hear it and put the tree into the golden page world. Why would he wait when he got such good things? Was this guy's head rusting? Jing Yingli heard the cultivator's words and didn't care about them at all. If the cultivator who just came wasn't hollow spirit state, then she and Yimo didn't need to worry at all. But she didn't expect Yimo to be this crazy. He dug the entire tree away. At least leave something for people in the future. Marshall sisteringly. The male cultivator's face didn't look good, but he still greeted Jing Yingli. Jing Yingli also recognized this person. She could only reply, "So it's Marshall brother Qilin from Godwind Valley? Are you by yourself?" Qilin's face wasn't good. He scanned Yimo plainly before replying, "Yeah, I got separated from my Marshall sister, but I saw a hollow seed fruit tree here. But Marshall's sister arrived a step before me." Yimo saw this Qilin was prettier than a woman, but he scorned him in his heart. This guy clearly knew that he had split the hollow seed fruit with Jing Yingli and still brought it up. Did he want him to take them out? If he really did, then this guy was dreaming. Yimo also knew that Jing Yingli was reminding him that this guy came from 9-star sect Godwind Valley, and he shouldn't just do things casually. Jingyingli also knew what Qi Lin was thinking, but she said politely to Qi Lin while mocking him inside, "Martial brother Qi, we'll be leaving?" Qi Lin saw this and quickly asked, "Wait, Martial sister Ingli, who is this?" Jing Ingli quickly said, "This is our abstruse sound sect's inner sect member. My father sent 3 inner sect members to protect me in the Truth Fall Palace. Now he's the only one." Then, Jing Ingli's face seemed sad. Even Yimo had to admit her expression seemed too real. Since Jing Ingli said this, Qi Lin couldn't bring up the hollow seed fruit again. After all, they were from a 9-star sect too, and they got the hollow spirit fruit first. Why should they give it to him? If Yimo wasn't from the abstruse sound sect, he might try to force them out of him. Qi Lin could only watch as Yimo and Jing Ingli left, but he still looked at Yimo with bad intent. In his view, even though Yimo was Jing Ingli's follower, he was a 9-star sect's core disciple. Yimo should give him a few hollow seed fruit. After a long while, Yimo asked, "Martial sister Jing, did your sect really send a few people to protect you and they all died?" Jing Ingli said with dejectedness, "Yes, my father sent those inner sect members, but ever since they went in the Truth Fall Palace Forbidden Grounds, they never came out. I've been wanting to tell you that if you don't have an identity when you go out, you can use one of their identities and I will vouch for you." Yimo could tell that she wasn't very sad that her 3 followers died, but more that it was because they were sent by her father. Yimo shook his head. He felt that there was too much drama in these big sections. But he still thanked Jing Ingli for giving him an identity. "From now on, your name is Shi Pei. After you go out, you can leave by yourself and change names. I will go back and say that you didn't listen to me and I killed you," Jing Ingli said indifferently. Hearing this, Yimo realized that those 3 guards weren't just here to protect her. He nodded and didn't ask why. It had nothing to do with him. After a long silence, Jing Ingli said that Qi Lin is the core disciple of Godwind Valley, Nascent Soul State Level 9 and ranked 17th on the Nascent Soul State Trial Tablet. You need to be careful. Yimo nodded. He probably was no match for the 17th ranked on the trial tablet yet. Cultivators weren't like spirit beasts. The lightning leopard was level 7, but it wasn't intelligent. If it had intelligence, then even hollow spirit state primary stage cultivators were no match for it. So usually, ordinary cauldron-filling state cultivators couldn't beat level 9 spirit beasts, since spirit beasts who were level 9 usually had intelligence and some even began to morph into humans. After you leave the Truthfall Palace, what do you plan to do? Because of Yimo's show of power, Jing Ingli didn't want to just use him. She even wanted to help him as perhaps he might pay her back in the future. With how smart Jing Ingli was, she could see the huge potential in Yimo. Yimo fell silent for a moment. He planned to go back to Imoyu City and then entrust it to Su Changjia to look after. Then, he would find a forgery great master to make the lightning leopard skin into an armor and prepare for breaking through to hollow spirit state. I want to find a forgery great master and make the lightning leopard skin into an armor. Yimo didn't tell her about Imoyu City as she wasn't a friend yet. Jing Ingli fell silent and said, "I know a forgery grandmaster. I will tell you his location and you can go see him. Another thing is..." She hesitated before continuing. "Although news of you killing Yuan Guanan and Tian Alfing hasn't been spilled, I suggest you find some support. 9-star sects like the Lightning Cloud sect and the Infinity sect have too much power. One slight thing might bring them to investigate you. So, you need to prepare yourself." How could Yimo not know this? But they were both 9-star sects while he was only a nascent soul state level 4. How was he going to fight against them? As though knowing what Yimo was thinking, Jing Ingli said, "All Formation sect is only an 8-star sect, but it's very powerful. Even ordinary 9-star sects don't dare to mess with them. You're a level 5 Formation Great Master, a talent the All Formation sect needs. If you join them, then even the 9-star sects need to consider before attacking you." Yimo could tell from her tone that they just needed to think before attacking. So, they would still attack if necessary. Jing Ingli shook her head. She knew that the All Formation sect was powerful, but not enough to protect Yimo. Yimo suddenly smiled and said to Jing Ingli, "Martial sister Jing, thanks for your help. So what if the 9-star sect comes to me? We cultivators pursue the Tao. What is there to fear in death?" Jing Ingli smiled. I know you're not scared to die, but from your tone I know you have too many attachments. If you really didn't have that many attachments, I wouldn't be helping you come up with ideas. She paused before sighing. If only you were a pill master, you could join the Pill City. Pill City? Yemo immediately asked. If a level 7 pill king did well, then he might occasionally concoct heaven grade level 9 pills. Heaven grade level 9 was already the highest level in the cultivation realm. It even had a pill spirit. Even truth realization states might not need heaven grade level 9 pills. Are there a lot of pill kings at the Pill City? Yemo asked. Jing Ingli shook her head. There are about 30 to 50 pill kings at the Pill City. That isn't a lot. The sects in the entire South P state without pill kings and solo cultivators all go to Pill City to buy pills. This means that every pill king is very precious. There are even fewer pill kings above level 4. There aren't more than 20 in South P state and no more than 10 in the Pill City. As for level 7 pill kings, according to what I know, there are only 2 in the Pill City. I don't know how many pill kings there are above level 7. Yemo didn't expect his pill concoction skills to be able to rank into top 20 in the South P state. He hesitated before telling Jing Ingli, "Is there something you want to say? Say it. I won't betray you." Jing Ingli could tell by Yemo's expression that he had something to say. Yemo nodded. "Martial Sister Jing, thanks for your words and your genuine help. I've decided to go to the Pill City. It's just as you said. I'm not afraid of death, but I have too many attachments." Jingingli was very smart and provided the best analysis for his situation. Jingingli could just tell from a slight hint and stared at Yemo in shock. "Are you a pill master too?" Yemo nodded. "That's right, but I'm not a pill master. I'm a level 4 pill king." "What?" Jingingli was struck by Yemo's words again. She stared at Yemo with uncertainty. If Yemo didn't show level 5 formation great master skills before, she would think Yemo was crazy. If a level 5 formation great master needed time to build up, then level 4 pill kings didn't just need time. They needed absurd talent and large amounts of time and resources as well as fortune. How old was Yemo? Just being a formation great master was enough to use up all the time he had spent. Now, he told her he was a pill king, a level 4 pill king. How could she believe it? But her instincts told her that Yemo wasn't lying. "You're really a level 4 pill king?" Jing Ingli asked in disbelief. "I'm indeed a level 4 pill king." Yemo was helpless. Jing Ingli took a deep breath as she processed this information. Yemo felt quite awkward being stared at by Jing Ingli. He coughed and said, "I want to ask how to get to the Pill City." Jing Ingli breathed slowly and calmed down before saying, "You're a level 4 pill king. You should be able to concoct the Hollow Meridian pill, right?" The difference between level 4 and level 3 pill king was a yardstick. No matter how many materials a level 3 pill king wasted, he wouldn't be able to concoct a Hollow Meridian pill. Only a level 4 pill king could concoct it, so it was very precious. This was why there was such a huge ratio difference in nascent soul state and hollow spirit state cultivators in South P state. Yemo nodded. "That's right. I should be able to concoct it." "Okay." Jingingli took out tins of jade boxes and placed them in front of Yemo, saying, "These are the spirit herbs needed for the Hollow Meridian pill. I'll take you to the city, and you can help me concoct a Hollow Meridian pill. I will also take you to the Forgery Master and even get you a spot in the Pill City's pill concoction tournament." Even the 9-star sect Abstruse Sound Sect didn't have a level 4 pill king. So Jing Ingli collected large amounts of spirit herbs since she couldn't find someone to concoct the pill for her. Perhaps she could ask for help from her sect, but to her that was the last thing she wanted to do. Plus, the sect leader was her father, the person she didn't want to see the most. If she hadn't met Yemo, she was planning to head to Pill City a year later, but since Yemo was a level 4 pill king, she wasn't going to pass up this opportunity. Yemo scanned the jade box with his spirit sense. A few contained the hollow seed fruit they had collected. He said in surprise, "You have enough materials here to make 3 cauldrons of Hollow Meridian pills. If you just need one, you don't need to use this many materials." "I just need 1 pill. You can have the rest." Jing Ingli was very confident in her talent. One hollow meridian pill, and she could ascend a hollow spirit state. Yimo wasn't greedy. Jingli was so generous and helped him with his plan. He was very grateful. The hollow meridian pill was very precious. Even if she didn't need it, she could sell it for large amounts of spirit stones. I'll help you concoct it now. It will probably take me half a day for a cauldron, but I'll give you one cauldron. The rest can be my payment, Yimo said. 3 hours later, Jingli held the bottle of hollow meridian pills Yimo gave her and didn't have any doubts at all. She was even more shocked at Yimo's mysteriousness. Although Yimo didn't concoct the pills in front of her, she was sure that Yimo had concocted a cauldron of hollow meridian pills on the first try. They were special grade as well. Perhaps this guy could even concoct heaven grade level 5 pills. As a prodigy, Jingli had to admit she was shocked and crushed. Compared to Yimo, what sort of genius was she? Chapter 1072. Eerie Level 7. Chapter 1072. Eerie Level 7. Putting away the hollow meridian pill. Jingli suppressed the confusion and shock in her heart and didn't question Yimo. She knew that if a mysterious prodigy like Yimo was known by the Pill City, he would definitely become someone significant there. If Yimo rose up in status, the Lightning Cloud sect and the Infinity sect wouldn't continue a feud with such a prodigy over a mere core disciple. Her help towards Yimo was at the time when he needed it the most. This was countless times better than helping Yimo when he had already reached the top. I suppose that after we search through Truthfall Palace Level 7, the Truthfall Palace will close, but it's fine. The time is still early, and we have no way of getting to Level 8. After we go out, we can meet again in 3 months at the Pill City. This is a detailed map of the entire South Peace State. Pill City is there. Jingli gave a jade slip to Yimo. Yimo took the jade slip. He found that he already had such a jade slip, but not as accurate as Jingli's. Jingli didn't ask how Yimo became a Pill King or Formation Great Master. She was a smart woman. Since Yimo didn't say anything, she wouldn't ask about it. There was not a single person to be seen at the entrance to Level 7. Clearly, there were few cultivators who could come to Level 6 and even fewer who wanted to go to Level 7. When Jingli came here, she hesitated for a moment. Before, she had no attachments and had no problem with going to Level 7. But now, she got the hollow meridian pill and began to hesitate. After all, she was young and could wait another 30 years before coming back here. Yimo's senses were extremely powerful after cultivating the 3 birth chant, and he noticed Jingli's feelings. He smiled and said, "The hollow meridian pill only lets you reach hollow spirit state. For us cultivators, hollow spirit state is just the beginning." Jingli smiled and clearly understood what Yimo meant. She looked back at Yimo and said, "Thank you. You're also a very meticulous and smart person. It's not that I'm afraid of death. I'm scared that if I happen to die here, I won't have another chance to come to Level 7. Then, she paused and looked at Yimo. "I saw that you had too many attachments before. That's why you were willing to go to the Pill City. Is it your family?" Yimo wasn't willing to talk to Jingli about this, but his heart lit on fire thinking about them. He sighed and said heavily, "Yes, I really miss them." Jingli could see the heavy attachment in Yimo's eyes and said, "Cultivation is supposed to sever all emotional ties. Don't you understand?" Yimo smiled indifferently. "The Tao I'm cultivating is one that has emotions. If it was an emotionless Tao, then I might as well not cultivate it." Jingli suddenly felt at ease. She was ugly and people didn't like her. She had always been cultivating and cultivating, but she didn't feel any prejudice from Yimo. Hearing Yimo's reply, she smiled as well. "If your view is heard by the 8-star sect Heartless Valley, it'll be another conflict." Yimo didn't reply. He wasn't afraid of a 9-star sect, so how could he be afraid of an 8-star sect? Jingli didn't talk anymore. She walked up to the stairs to Level 7 and said, "Walk next to me. We might not be able to talk later. Use your spirit sense cultivation method to sever the mental pressure, and we'll charge up to Level 7 together." Okay. Yimo walked onto the stairs at the same time. There were 777 stairs to Level 7. The first 200 stairs, Yimo and Jingli could still deal with, but after that, The sudden pressure almost crushed Jing Yingli's back. Luckily, she was prepared and used her cultivation essence to stop the pressure. It had only been 200 stairs, and there was already such pressure. How were they going to pass the next 500 stairs? Jing Yingli had to use her spirit sense to defend, but she knew that even if they defended together, they wouldn't be able to reach level 7. At this moment, she began to get lost. She didn't know if her decision was right or wrong. She just wanted to look at Emo, but suddenly she felt light. The mental pressure seemed to have been severed. She gazed at Emo in surprise. She knew Emo had spirit sense attacking means, but didn't expect it to be this powerful. Jing Yingli blushed thinking about how she said they could work together to get to level 7. Now, it seemed that regardless of whether Emo could get to level 7, her help was minimal. Hurry up. Emo felt his purple eye soul sever had improved a lot, but the mental pressure from level 7 stairs was much more powerful than level 6, and this was only the beginning. Jing Yingli could also feel that Emo was beginning to struggle, so she went faster. Soon, they reached about the 500 stairs point. Just when Jing Yingli thought they would be able to reach level 7 if they walked a little faster, the mental pressure that was suppressed by Emo drastically increased, and Jing Yingli spat out many mouthfuls of blood. She began to feel despair. This wasn't a blood clot stuck in her chest. This was the brink of her being crushed mentally. She didn't need to look at Emo to know that he wasn't much better off than her. Emo was indeed not much better than Jing Yingli. The sudden increase in pressure made him spit blood too. He could almost feel that his sea of consciousness was beginning to crumble. Emo was shook. If his sea of consciousness crumbled, he would be finished. He used all his spirit sense and used Purple Eye Soul Sever again. After using this, Emo felt a light crack sound in his sea of consciousness, and a feeling of comfort and ease rose up his chest. The sea of consciousness that was about to explode became clear. The mental pressure nearby reduced. Emo knew that his Purple Eye Soul Sever had reached from level 2 to level 3. Now, he could not only cut off the mental pressure, but also hack out with the Spirit Sense Sword. If he fought with the Lightning Leopard now, he wouldn't need to trap it at the price of injury. He only needed to keep using his Spirit Sense Sword. Emo also felt the area around him clear up. He rejoiced. Not only did his Purple Eye Soul Sever upgrade, but his Spirit Sense also increased by a level. He was sure that Spirit Sense had levels, but he didn't know what level his was at. Jing Yingli also felt some ease and looked gratefully at Emo. Thank you. Your Spirit Sense cultivation method upgraded? Emo nodded. He didn't calm down yet. If his Spirit Sense didn't break through just then, he could only wait for death. Before, he thought he would be able to go into the Golden Page world when he couldn't take it anymore, but now it seemed he was too naive. He could have done that on the stairs to level 6, but here he could only spit blood. I'll take back what I said before. I said you can't kill me, but that's just what I've been thinking, Jing Yingli mocked herself. Other than looks, she wouldn't say anyone was better than her in front of any prodigy in the South Peace State. But now, she was truly defeated by Emo. The remaining stairs didn't trouble the two anymore, and soon, they came to Truth Fall Palace level 7. Emo thought there would be better spirit chi here than level 6, but when he came here, he found out he was very wrong. The spirit chi here was very chaotic and impure. It wasn't even as good as level 5. This is level 7? Emo looked around at the dull gray landscape and was dazed. Then, Emo saw a cultivator up ahead. It was Duan Juyang, the hollow spirit state cultivator from the 9-star sect, Godwind Valley. He stood there still and clearly dead, but his expression was very eerie. Chapter 1073, Not Space Collapse. Chapter 1073, Not Space Collapse. It's Godwind Valley's Duan Juyang. Jing Yingli saw this and said, I know it's Duan Juyang, but don't you feel that his death is quite eerie? Emo asked. Jing Yingli nodded. Yes, there are battle marks around him, and his face seems like he saw something good, but his eyes show shock and... Jing Yingli glanced at Emo with some terror in her eyes. And his storage ring is gone, right? Emo asked, what sort of person do you think could kill this hollow spirit state cultivator so suddenly that he couldn't even react? Jingli and Yimo looked at each other, both feeling uneasy. In order to kill a hollow spirit state cultivator before he could react, this person needed to be at least disaster transformation state or even truth realization state. It wasn't hard for a truth realization state cultivator to instantly kill a hollow spirit state cultivator, but it was very hard to do that before the hollow spirit state cultivator's expression could even change. Yimo looked around at the dull sky and felt more and more uneasy. He had a sense of danger that he had never felt before. He felt that level 7 wasn't a place he could come to with his current power. Have people come to level 7 before? Why is it dull gray here, and the spirit chi is so impure? Spirit sense is also affected. I can't see a single spirit herb. Jingli calmed down and nodded. Yes, Truthfall Palace level 7 doesn't have a lot of spirit herbs. Even if it does, they would be very precious and rare ones. The cultivators who come here are here for the true God chamber, to find heaven-grade cultivation method and magic artifacts. Jingli continued. It said that level 7 was a battlefield for ancient cultivators. Many body condensation state, cauldron filling state, and even truth realization state cultivators died here, and their magic artifacts were buried under the ground or lost in some corner. Later, True God Chamber appeared in level 7, and all the magic artifacts and cultivation methods with some intelligence appear here. Yimo sneered and looked at Jingli. Do you believe that cultivation methods and magic artifacts would appear here on their own? Although you didn't directly answer my question, from what you said, I can tell that people have been at level 7 before. Jingli frowned. She had only heard that once magic artifacts reach a certain level, there would be an artifact spirit, but she didn't know what level that was. Plus, would cultivation artifacts have an artifact spirit? Even if magic artifacts had an artifact spirit, would cultivation methods have a spirit too? But she still replied, I heard my master say that before, the Golden Sword sect had a hollow spirit state cultivator go into level 7, but after that cultivator came out, he brought out a lot of cultivation methods and cultivation artifacts. There were even level 8 spirit herbs. After he came out, he kept talking about the true God chamber, saying there are magic artifacts and cultivation methods stacked up like mountains. Yimo asked in confusion, what does that mean? Jingli sighed. That cultivator only kept speaking about the true God chamber and stopped cultivating. He had mental problems, and not long after, he died. People all thought that the problem was because the pressure on the stairs broke him. The 7-star sect Golden Sword sect rose to become an 8-star sect due to the things he brought out, and their reserves aren't any less than ordinary 9-star sections. So ever since then, all big sect cultivators want to go into Truthfall Palace level 7, but hearing your words, I suddenly remembered that after all these years, there hasn't been someone who has reached level 7 and come out successfully. Then why do you have to go to level 7? Yimo asked her. Jingli hesitated for a moment before saying, because my grandmother died at level 7. My main purpose is to bring her storage ring back out. There's something very important in that storage ring. You think that storage ring is in the true God chamber, right? Yimo asked again. Jingli nodded. Yes, people saw my grandmother go into Truthfall Palace level 7 and not come out. If she died, it would be in the true God chamber. I have a premonition that if we go into the true God chamber with our current power, we won't come back out alive, no matter what. It's a premonition, but my premonitions are usually very accurate, Yimo said. Yimo suddenly had a very bad feeling that he didn't feel even in the Forbidden Grounds. Jingli fell silent. She had finally come to Truthfall Palace level 7 and wasn't able to do what she wanted. It was hard for her to accept, and she knew that if she wasn't able to do it now, she wouldn't be able to do it 30 years later. 30 years later, she would at most be Hollow Spirit State level 4. How much better could she be than Duanjuyang? Even if she was Hollow Spirit State level 4, she might not even be able to come up here without Yimo's spirit sense attack. Seeing Jingli's hesitation, Yimo said again, if you trust me 30 years later, I will help you find your grandma's storage ring if I have the chance. But now, even if I go with you, it's useless. It's the first time I've disliked a place this much. If I could choose, I would have already left here. Seeing that Yimo even said this, Jingli clenched her teeth and said, okay, We'll wait here to teleport out. There's about 1 or 2 days left. Just as Jing Ingli said those words, Yimo felt that space itself seemed to be collapsing. Without hesitation, he released the octagonal cauldron. Immediately, a cauldron shadow formed around Yimo and Jing Ingli. Jing Ingli noticed some bleakness attack pass by and also felt that space was collapsing. She immediately screamed, "This is space collapse." The next moment, her face went pale. Even truth realization state cultivators wouldn't be able to escape from space collapse, much less nascent soul state cultivators. Yimo's face sunk, and he used his full power to power the octagonal cauldron. The collapse just then seemed like space collapse, but Yimo's powerful spirit sense immediately recognized that it was something else. Yimo, it's useless. That's space collapse. Don't use the octagonal cauldron to block it. Jing Ingli said with despair. Yimo didn't say anything and just kept using the octagonal cauldron. Thud, thud, thud. After a few thuds, Yimo's cauldron seemed to be taking some powerful attack. They were both sent flying and landed a few 100 meters away. This isn't space collapse? Jing Ingli immediately realized that it just looked like space collapse. Yimo spat blood and wiped his mouth, saying coldly, "We were tricked. You're injured." Jing Ingli didn't understand what Yimo meant by being tricked. Yimo said with a heavy voice, "See if Duan Zhuyang is still there." Jing Ingli just found that Duan Zhuyang had disappeared and immediately asked, "Was he devoured by the space collapse?" She immediately realized her words were bullshit. If it was space collapse, how could Yimo's octagonal cauldron protect them? Devoured my ass. Yimo's face was bad. He saw clearly that Duan Zhuyang was blown to pieces by that bleak wind. That bleak wind blew after that seeming space collapse. Don't move. Yimo then released Mist Lotus Heart Fire and swept it over Jing Ingli's body. Heaven Flame? Jing Ingli was dazed and recognized it to be Heaven Flame. Although it was sweeping towards her, she didn't move. She was certain that Yimo wasn't trying to kill her, or he wouldn't envelop her with the octagonal cauldron. Jing Ingli was right. After a sizzling burn, she felt much lighter. Something on her clothes seemed to have been burned off. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.